Chapter 4:21. The zombies were expressionless. More and more of them crawled out. Go! Feng Yinyang said coldly. Roar! The zombie army roared and charged at the skeleton army. Rumble! The two armies ran and soon met at the center of the battlefield. Roar! Crack! The zombies and skeletons fought each other, neither willing to give in. The sound of fighting pierced the void. It was extremely noisy. The two sides made contact with each other, and the surroundings were shrouded in the blink of an eye. However, there was a faint blue light amidst the black chi, allowing them to see the tragic battle inside. With just two people, they can create a large-scale war scene. Feng Shui masters are really strange. Qing Long sighed. Come, let's go, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Are we waiting for them to fight until both sides are injured? Mou, she said in surprise. The Feng Shui master over there is an acquaintance of mine. Yin Chuan smiled. Oh, everyone nodded. Since it was an acquaintance, the original plan had to be changed. Whoosh! The group carefully sneaked in Feng Yinyang's direction. Because they were close to the ground, they had no choice but to pass through the battlefield. Roar! Several zombies pounced. Whoosh! Qing Long waved his hand and blocked the zombies. Feng Yinyang, who was far away, immediately sensed something and looked over. Yin Chuan, Feng Yinyang said in surprise. As he spoke, he waved his hand in Yin Chuan's direction. The zombies there immediately ignored Yin Chuan's group and blocked a large number of skeletons for Yin Chuan. In the blink of an eye, Yin Chuan's group approached. Mou Shi, Qing Long, and the others looked at Feng Yinyang warily. Why are you here? Feng Yinyang asked in surprise. Maybe it's a coincidence. Are you here for the treasures? Yin Chuan immediately asked. No. Feng Yinyang shook his head directly. Oh, could it be that you're doing this for? Yin Chuan suddenly thought of something. Feng Yinyang nodded and said, That's right. It's a pity that we met a few fellows who just won't go away. Lingering around? Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Feng Yinyang suddenly became extremely serious. Yin Chuan looked over. On top of a distant hill, Poisoner suddenly took out a golden cloth roll. It was about 30 feet in diameter, and there were lines drawn on it. They looked like the lines of a compass. The Northern Sect's Great Expansion Diagram? He's a traitor of the Northern Sect? Feng Yinyang asked in surprise. In the distance, Poisoner was already standing on top of the cloth. He looked around at the area that was shrouded in the aura of death. There was a rainbow-colored feather in his skeletal claw. That's a phoenix feather? Mou, she said in surprise. Poisoner threw the phoenix feather into the golden cloth roll, and it was immediately sucked into it. Buzz! The cloth roll suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light, and the golden light instantly illuminated the area. The black-robed Poison Master's clothes suddenly underwent a magnificent transformation. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a set of golden robes, and a phoenix crown appeared on his head. In the phoenix nest, I'm the Phoenix Lord. Poisoner shouted loudly. Ing, ing, ing. In the area shrouded in the aura of death, countless phoenix cries could be heard. Rumble. The hill under Poisoner's feet suddenly expanded. It became taller and taller. It was like a mountain that rose into the sky. As Poisoner rose, a large number of phoenix illusions flew around. One after another, phoenixes sang loudly as they surrounded Poison Master, emitting phoenix cries that soared into the sky. The entire west side had been covered by the golden light, and the number of phoenix illusions was increasing. The skeletons, just to cover up the aura of death, to create a derivative world? Yin Chuan's face darkened. In the distance, the phoenix illusions gradually solidified, and a strong aura suppressed them. This aura? Is it real? Is it a real phoenix? Qing Long said with a pale face. It's fake, but it's no different from the real one. This is a derivative world. Feng Shui masters have the unique ability to use the power of yin and yang to simulate a sacred realm. Yin Chuan explained. Derivative world? But that's just fake. According to what you said, it's just a simulation. How can it have such a strong aura? Qing Long was puzzled. Do you still remember the Feng Shui formation last time? Is the underworld devil rabbit real or fake? Yin Chuan asked. The feng shui formation is different from ordinary formations. It's not real. The derivative world is born from the feng shui formation. It's a world formed when powerful feng shui masters fight. But Poisoner is only at the immortal state. You shouldn't have the ability to form a derivative world. Yin Chuan frowned and said. Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. I didn't expect you to know feng shui. That's right. The feng shui master opposite us is not qualified to form a derivative world, but he has the northern sect's big picture. He stole the big picture of the northern sect, which is the most precious treasure of the northern sect. Feng Yinyang said in a low voice. Phoenix, listen to my order. Poisoner's cold voice came from afar. Hum. Several Phoenix illusions cried out. Capture the man from the east. Poisoner shouted. Hum. The Phoenix illusions cried out. They turned around and rushed toward Yin Chuan. I feel that many of these Phoenix illusions are at the emptiness realm, Qing Long said with a pale face. Feng Yinyang looked at the Phoenix illusions and clenched his fists tightly. Bastard, you spoiled my plan. Alas. Feng Yinyang sighed slightly. What's wrong? Yin Chuan asked. I prepared it for Guyu, but... Feng Yinyang sighed slightly. He took a step forward. Buzz. A huge round wheel suddenly appeared under Feng Yinyang's feet. As the wheel rotated, the earth around them roared. On the Dragon Island, I am the Dragon King. Feng Yinyang's roar resounded through the entire derivative world, shrouded by the deathly aura. Ong, ong, ong. The roars of the dragons soared into the sky. Rumble. The earth under Feng Yinyang's feet roared as if it was about to rise. Clothes. Yin Chuan shouted at Moyushi. Here. Moyushi quickly handed over a jade box. Feng Yinyang. These are the clothes worn by the 7 people on the other side. They are not stained by anyone else's aura. Yin Chuan threw the jade box to Feng Yinyang, who was rising up. Feng Yinyang's body was surrounded by golden light. He wore a flat imperial crown on his head and slowly rose up. Catching the jade box, Feng Yinyang nodded lightly. Dragon-shaped phantoms suddenly appeared around the towering mountain. There were flood dragons, winged dragons, horned dragons, and hornless dragons. Nearly 1,000 huge dragon illusions suddenly appeared. They roared and supported Feng Yinyang as they soared into the sky. Ing. In the derivative world, the dragons roared and the phoenixes cried. Chapter 422. In the derivative world, the mountain under Feng Yinyang's feet grew higher and higher. In the blink of an eye, it reached the peak of the derivative world. Like a commander, Feng Yinyang commanded nearly 1,000 dragons as he looked coldly at the poison master on the commander's platform. The 2 feng shui masters were superior and became the protagonists of the derivative world. Qianlong attack. Feng Yinyang gave the order. Roar! Roar! The dragons roared. In the long roar, they became more and more solid and rushed forward. Boom! Boom! The collision between the phoenix and the dragons suddenly burst out a gust of wind. Below, a group of skeletons and zombies had already fallen down in front of the dragons and phoenixes. For a time, the derivative world was chaotic because of the battle between the 2 sides. The dragon showed its power and threw down the mountain. The phoenix spread its wings and evaporated the small lake instantly. Boom! 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 The loud noise could cause earthquakes again and again. Qing Long and others looked at the sky in horror. A feng shui master who can set up a formation is abnormal. Qing Long said with a complicated expression. I heard that a feng shui master is weak. It doesn't matter how weak he is. With a wave of his hand, a group of divine realm and virtual realm mythical beasts will help him. He can get as many as he wants. How can we fight? Bai Long also said with a complicated expression. It's not that easy. Yin Chuan shook his head with a smile. Yin Chuan and others hid under the mountain of Feng Yinyang's commander. On the other side, Shinku and Kuroha and others also saw Yin Chuan and others. They dared to come? An elder sneered. Let's kill Yin Chuan. Another person said. Roar! When a group of virtual realm masters was about to trouble Yin Chuan, a group of dragons suddenly appeared in front of a group of virtual realm masters. They opened their mouths and spat fire at them. "Ah!" an elder exclaimed. Boom! The elders quickly took out their magic treasures to fight against the dragons. "Poisoner, what's going on? Why is his dragon in your home ground?" Shinkuan Kuroha exclaimed. "Ooh!" Before everyone's eyes, illusory figures of dragons appeared out of thin air. Slowly but surely, the illusory figures of dragons materialized and charged toward the Poison Master. Boom! A dragon tail swung down on the mountain, causing it to shake violently. The phoenix on the other side seemed to have lost control and were suppressed by the dragons. "That's impossible. This is my domain. How did he infiltrate it?" Poisoner frowned in shock. Suddenly, Poisoner saw the 7 sets of clothes floating in the air where Feng Yinyang was. "Our clothes? Soul condensing technique? Yin Chuan, you bastard Yin Chuan!" Poisoner exclaimed. "Poisoner, what's going on?" Shinkuan Kuroha roared. "The Feng Shui master on the other side is too powerful. As soon as the 1,000 dragons appeared, I knew that I was no match for him. My phoenix is only half of his. However, I have the great development diagram. I can fight with him until the end. But I didn't expect him to have our clothes. He can use the clothes to send the will of the dragons directly to us and attack us." Poisoner said angrily. "What should we do? The derivative world is closed. Protect me and block the dragons that are coming from all directions. Otherwise, we will be in trouble this time." Poisoner said bitterly. "Don't worry," Shinkuan Kuroha said. Boom! The dragons roared and suppressed the phoenix. On the other side, Shinkuan Kuroha and the others were in a difficult situation. An elder was hit by the dragon's tail and was severely injured in the blink of an eye. Chapter 423. "Hold on!" Shinkuan Kuroha screamed. Phoenix retreated. In the blink of an eye, Poisoner was surrounded by enemies. "What a mess! Bastard! Bastard!" Poisoner said anxiously. On the other side, Yin Chuan and his team looked satisfied. "Meow! These bad guys are doomed," Meow said excitedly, just as everyone was happily watching the tragedy of the Poison Master on the other side. Buzz! Yin Chuan's expression suddenly changed. "Watch out!" Yin Chuan shouted. Boom! Azure Dragon struck out with his palm, colliding with the palm that had suddenly appeared. Boom! A gust of wind blew. The 2 palms collided and separated. In front of Yin Chuan and his team, 2 figures in purple robes appeared. Ziwen Zichuan? Mo Yushi's expression changed. "Saint Yushi!" The 2 of them shouted at Mo Yushi, but there was no respect in their voices. "What are you doing here? What do you want?" Mo Yushi scolded. "Saint, this is an order from Guyu Holy Sun. Today we must stop Yin Chuan," Ziwen said coldly. "Who dares?" Mo Yushi shouted coldly. "Saint, we know that you have just reached the emptiness realm. We have been in the emptiness realm for many years. You're no match for us. Please step aside. It will be bad if we hurt you," Zichuan said coldly. "Hurt me? You dare to hurt me?" Mo Yushi said coldly. "Sorry, we are servants of the Holy Sun. We only listen to the orders of the Holy Sun. If you insist on doing what you want, don't blame us," Zichuan said coldly. "How dare you?" Mo Yushi shouted coldly. At the same time, she grabbed a folding fan in her hand. "Sorry." Zichuan waved the long sword in his hand. "Qing Long, block him with me. The rest of you, listen to Yin Chuan." Mo Yushi shouted and rushed forward. Boom! The folding fan and the long sword collided, and a large amount of dirt and stones burst out. Qing Long also rushed forward and blocked Ziwen. Boom! Boom! 4 Emptiness Realm experts started fighting. For a time, the battle in the derivative world was extremely chaotic. There were strong winds everywhere, sand and stones were flying everywhere, and dragons and phoenixes were colliding. Meow! Meow Meow hid in Yin Chuan's arms in horror. Bai Long, Rose Eyes, and Xuan Wuzet's eyes. Yin Chuan looked on coldly, with a tinge of worry in his eyes. "Guyu? Oomph." Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed. "Saintess, you are no match for me. Get out of my way," Zichuan shouted. "Oomph." She did not want to get out of the way. She opened the folding fan in her hand. Suddenly, rays of golden light appeared and rushed towards Zichuan. Sorry for the offense, Zichuan shouted. Clang! The long sword suddenly drew a ray of light and pierced into the folding fan through the gap. Clang! The sword energy instantly pierced through Yushi's chi wall and scratched Yushi's arm. Yushi was pushed back by the impact. Covering her arm, Yushi's face turned ugly. Blood dripped from her arm. Yushi, Yin Chuan shouted. Yushi turned to look at Yin Chuan and smiled. She shook her head and said, I'm fine. Go. No, Yushi, come here. Let me do it. Yin Chuan shouted. Yin Chuan wanted to borrow Yushi's essence clone. I'm already at the virtual god realm. Can you still borrow my essence clone? Yushi shook her head and smiled bitterly. We have to try, Yin Chuan said anxiously. There's no need. Bai Long, take Yin Chuan and leave. Yushi shouted. Leave? If you dare to leave, I'll kill Yushi. Zichuan sneered. Don't you dare, Yin Chuan shouted. Chapter 424. Saintess Yushi, I don't want to kill you. Get out of the way now, or else I won't be polite, Zichuan said coldly. Yushi's blood fell to the ground. No one noticed that after Yushi's blood fell to the ground, it disappeared strangely, as if it was absorbed by the ground. Just when she was anxious. Boom! A ray of light broke through the ground and rushed to the sky. It even pierced through the derivative world and rushed to the sky. Ray of light? Treasure? Zichuan said in surprise. On the other side, the battle between Qing Long and Ziwen suddenly stopped. Why now? Why now? Ziwen was also surprised. Even Poisoner, Shin Kuan Kuroha, and Feng Yinyang looked at the ray of light that rushed out from the ground. The ray of light broke through the derivative world and rushed to the sky. The original darkness of the night became extremely gorgeous because of this colorful ray of light. Immortal City, City Master's Mansion. Holy Sun, the treasure is born. The treasure is born. A practitioner shouted. Guyu Holy Sun rushed out of the main hall. Yang Zigu also rushed out of the main hall. They looked at the bright colorful ray of light in the distance. The treasure is born? Let's go. Guyu Holy Sun shouted excitedly. What treasure? Yang Zigu also said excitedly. Rumble. Countless practitioners of the Immortal City rushed to the sky. Under the leadership of Guyu Holy Sun, they quickly rushed to the ray of light. The vast group of Xiozha charged forward. At the derivative world, Yin Ran became a huge focus. In the far east of the derivative world, in a valley, a figure in white was sitting cross-legged at this moment. It was the new knife demon that separated from Yin Chuan not long ago, the Emperor. The ray of light rushed to the sky. The Emperor opened his eyes. A gust of wind blew his short hair. The Emperor stood up and looked at the ray of light in the distance coldly. Seven-colored light? Had the heavenly jade palace opened? Who is it? You actually know how to use the blood of the phoenix to open the seal? The Emperor frowned. That place used to be Phoenix's resting place. I don't know how many years it has been. I hope there are still people who know Phoenix. Maybe they know what happened back then. The Emperor sighed. Xing. He pulled out the long bronze saber stuck in the ground. The Emperor took a step forward and shot toward the direction where the multicolored light soared into the sky. In the derivative world, the earth was shaking. Multicolored light shot up from the ground into the sky, making the previous battle seem unremarkable. Ing, ing, ing. Suddenly, a large number of phoenix cries came from underground. This sound was not simulated by Poisoner, but produced from underground. Was there a phoenix cry underground? Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as boundless golden light burst out from the ground and shot into the sky. The zombies and skeletons on the ground were instantly annihilated by the golden light. The golden light shot out and instantly transformed into the shadows of Phoenix. One by one, the shadows of Phoenix appeared. There were tens of thousands of them. Suddenly, the original light of the derivative world increased by several times. A large number of phoenixes rushed toward Mo Yushi's body. A large number of phoenixes rushed toward Poisoner. Phoenixes will? Phoenixes will. The heavens are helping me. The heavens are helping me. Ha ha. Poisoner suddenly shouted excitedly. His hands flipped. Countless phoenixes will rushed out from underground and were suddenly controlled by Poisoner. A large number of phoenixes will condensed into the same phoenix that Poisoner simulated. 1,000 phoenixes cried out together, and the number of 1,000 phoenixes was still increasing. The situation of being suppressed by the 1,000 dragons was no longer the case. In an instant, they were competing with each other. They even reversed the situation and continued to force toward Feng Yinyang. What's wrong? Feng Yinyang was a little depressed. Chapter 425. A large amount of Phoenix's consciousness rushed into Mo Yushi's body, and a large amount of Phoenix's consciousness was controlled by Poisoner. Feng Yinyang's dragon clan was forced to retreat. The derivative world was in chaos. It was not over yet. In the middle of the two Feng Shui Masters platforms, the earth rumbled and a jade mountain broke out of the ground. The jade mountain was black and yellow, and the two colors were constantly changing, as if the colors were moving. Rumble! The phoenix's shadow was no longer gushing out from the ground, but from the huge jade mountain. The phoenix's shadow rolling out showed that the phoenix's consciousness came from this huge mountain. As soon as the jade mountain appeared, the originally soaring light suddenly increased by more than 10 times and shot straight to the 9 heavens, illuminating the heaven and earth with dazzling light. A treasure has appeared? Zichuan was also surprised. 100 feet tall, Jade Mountain attracted everyone's attention. Yan Chuan squinted his eyes and said in surprise, "The jade of heaven and earth?" Meow? What did you say? What jade? Meow was confused in Yan Chuan's arms. The relic of the undying sanctuary? Shinkuin Kuroha's eyes flashed with greed. Let's go. Shinkuin Kuroha shouted. The 5 elders followed Shinkuin Kuroha and rushed over. Scoundrel! How dare you covet such a precious treasure? Zichuan shouted loudly. Zichuan and Ziwen quickly flew towards the Jade Mountain. Not only the two of them, Mo Yushi and Qing Long also rushed over. In the blink of an eye, everyone had arrived. Rumble! Mo Yushi, Qing Long, Zichuan, and Ziwen worked together to attack Shinkuin Kuroha and the other 5. Rumble! 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 The void exploded, and the fight between the Emptiness Realm experts stirred up a cloud of dust. The elders blocked Mo Yushi, Zichuan, and the others, but Shinkuin Kuroha easily reached the Jade Mountain. He waved his hand, and a huge force rushed towards the Jade Mountain. The huge mountain did not move. Shinkuin Kuroha's face changed. He reached out his hand and touched the Jade Mountain. Phew! His hand seemed to go through the Jade Mountain. A small space? A small space created by the Immortals? Shinkuin Kuroha's mind. Shinkuin. Is there? The elder's face changed. Mo Yushi took a step forward and was about to rush towards the Jade Mountain. Kikik, you still want to run? Great development diagram. Trapping gods and erecting phoenixes. Poisoner's sinister laughter came from afar. Roar! 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 The phoenix controlled by Poisoner suddenly surrounded Mo Yushi. As they roared, they each spat out a stream of phoenix breath. The phoenix breath instantly bound Mo Yushi like silk. Mo Yushi's face changed. She waved her hand, but there were too many phoenix breaths. In the blink of an eye, Mo Yushi was bound. Bastard! Mo Yushi's face changed. The phoenix controlled by Poisoner was both real and illusory. It was extremely powerful. It bound Mo Yushi, and Mo Yushi was unable to move. Saintus! Qing Long's face changed. He threw away his opponent and rushed over. Roar! Roar! A large number of phoenixes flapped their wings and blocked Qing Long's path. Qing Long was extremely anxious. However, the phoenix was not just for show. Kik, you want to save her? Don't even think about it. Poisoner laughed excitedly. Chapter 426. Meow, Sister Mo is in trouble. That pervert is going to take Sister Mo away. Meow exclaimed. Saintus! Rose Finch and the others exclaimed. Chi! Yin Chuan flicked his sleeves, and a green vine suddenly shot out. In the blink of an eye, it shot towards Mo Yushi. Gulp! The green vine instantly wrapped around Mo Yushi, as though it wanted to pull Mo Yushi back. Prince Yin, we'll help you. Bailong quickly pulled Yin Chuan's green vine. No need, my green vine is too weak. I can't pull it back. Yin Chuan said anxiously. In the distance, Mo Yushi struggled with all her might, but there were too many phoenix breaths. Ha ha ha! The heavens are helping me. Come here. Poisoner laughed excitedly. Yushi! Yin Chuan shouted towards the distance. Mo Yushi anxiously turned her head. It's no use. I can't hold on anymore. Mo Yushi wriggled and said sadly. Trust me, don't resist my poison. Yin Chuan shouted towards Mo Yushi. Poison? Mo Yushi didn't understand. At this moment, the sharp end of the green vine suddenly pierced towards Mo Yushi's forehead. Chi! The poison vine pierced Mo Yushi's forehead. Instantly, the tip turned black, and a large amount of poison was about to enter Mo Yushi's forehead. Poison! Qing Long and the others' expressions changed. Trust me, Yin Chuan shouted. I trust you. Mo Yushi's eyes flashed with a trace of gentleness. Creak! The black poison completely penetrated Mo Yushi's forehead. Mo Yushi did not resist and allowed the poison to enter her body. Gradually, Mo Yushi closed her eyes as if she had fainted. Boom! Phoenix's power shattered the vines. Swish! Mo Yushi was pulled towards the poisoner. Keek, he fainted from poison? Using poison in front of me. The poisoner? What a joke. Poisoner laughed. Prince Yin, what are you doing? Rose Finch and the others exclaimed. Qing Long rushed towards Mo Yushi, but a large number of phoenix blocked Qing Long's path. Roar! Release the Saintus! Qing Long roared. Qing Long, come back! Yin Chuan shouted. Qing Long rushed forward a few times, but he was forced to retreat by the large number of phoenix. When he retreated and saw Yin Chuan, he shouted, Prince Yin, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why did you poison the Saintus? Qing Long, Bailong, Rose Finch, and Xuan Wu all glared at Yin Chuan. I'm protecting you, Shi. Yin Chuan shook his head. Ah! Poisoner's scream suddenly came from afar. Mo Yushi was pulled in front of the poisoner, but Mo Yushi's body emitted a faint black light. Injure my primordial spirit? What kind of poison is this? Poisoner exclaimed. For a moment, Poisoner didn't dare to get close to Mo Yushi. That is, Qing Long and the others were slightly stunned. The situation was unfavorable to us. We couldn't save Yushi at that time. It was too late, so I resorted to this. Yin Chuan said with a gloomy expression. Ah, it's called Mang God poison. It's very obscure and weak, so it can be easily expelled from a body. However, if someone is willing to let the poison enter the body and let the poison reside on their primordial spirit, the Mang God poison will absorb the person's primordial essence and catalyze a potent poison that corrodes the primordial spirit. It's like a Mang in the body, so people don't dare to get close. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Like a Mang in the body? Mang God poison? Qing Long and the others' expressions relaxed. Like a Mang in the body. Although it hurts the primordial spirit, I can detoxify it in the future. I know what Poisoner wants to do with you, Shi. Yin Chuan said with a gloomy expression. In the distance, Poisoner's skeletal claws turned black. Poison? There's a poison that I don't recognize. Poisoner said hatefully. Chapter 427. He coldly glanced at Yin Chuan. So what if she's poisonous? I can't extract her primordial spirit, but I can still use her. Poisoner said coldly. Taking a step, Poisoner suddenly left the great development diagram and stood outside it. Suddenly, the power of the phoenix in all directions decreased a lot. Feng Yinyang's dragon clan quickly attacked. But soon, Poisoner used his magic power to place Mo Yushi in the center of the great development diagram. A large amount of phoenixes will rush over. Condense emptiness into reality. 10,000 phoenix cry. Poisoner stretched out his hand. Um, um, um. Thousands of phoenixes will suddenly erupted from Mo Yushi's body. A large amount of phoenixes will that rushed towards Mou. She were instantly controlled by Poisoner. As the 10,000 phoenix cry, it suppressed the 1,000 dragon clan. Rumble. The rolling phoenix came, and the entire derivation world became the world of Phoenix in the blink of an eye. The dragon clan retreated again and again, and was forced into a corner. Mo Yushi floated above the great development diagram like a puppet, and was used by Poisoner to summon countless phoenix. Saintus, Qing Long, and others exclaimed, "What should we do? What should we do?" Rose Finch and others exclaimed, 10,000 phoenix cry. Poisoner used Mo Yushi as a puppet and instantly controlled the situation. Keek keek. Although more than half of the phoenix is gone, it's more than enough to destroy you. Poisoner smiled proudly. Poisoner, well done. An elder of the great winged heaven school laughed. Quick, you guys take out the treasure that the Lord wants. I'll take that feng shui master's body. Poisoner shouted excitedly. The myriad phoenixes cried in unison, besieging Feng Yinyang. Boom! Suddenly, there was another earth-shattering sound. At the edge of the derivative world, there was a dazzling golden light. Rumble! The entire derivative world was shaking. The golden light seemed to be shooting in from outside the derivative world, like a golden sun squeezing into the derivative world. Buzz! A golden sun rushed into the derivative world battlefield. 60 cultivators stood in the golden sun. The golden sun was like a huge cover. The cover instantly expanded, covering a large number of mountains and rivers in the blink of an eye. It occupied 1/5 of the derivative worlds. Outside the shield, a large number of phoenix could not enter. The great sun merit heavenly formation of the great Zhao Holy Land. Poisoner cried out in shock from afar. Holy Sun! Zichuan exclaimed in surprise. Guyu Holy Sun led a group of powerful cultivators into the derivative world battlefield. As soon as the group of cultivators entered the derivative world, they immediately looked around and looked at the huge Jade Mountain. Hey you're fast! Poison Master exclaimed. Can't take it. There's a world inside the Jade Mountain. Shinkuan Kuroha, Jiahu said. Go in. Shinkuan Kuroha shouted. Yes. Shinkuan Kuroha, along with the 5 elders, stepped into the Jade Mountain. The 6 of them disappeared instantly and entered the inner world of the Jade Mountain. Guyu Holy Sun's face sank. Poisoner, Yinchuan suddenly shouted. Poisoner looked over. As long as you can't kill all of us here, if you dare to hurt Mo Yushi, the great Zhao Holy Land will exterminate your entire clan. Yinchuan shouted at Poisoner in the distance. With Yinchuan's shout, Poisoner's face suddenly changed. His original and scrupulous attitude was gone. His original plan was to kill everyone here, including Mo Yushi. After that, who would know that he killed Mo Yushi? But it was different now. There were so many people here, could he kill them all? Especially that Guyu Holy Sun. He was an expert of the Middle Emptiness realm. Yushi? Yang Zigu, who was beside Guyu Holy Sun, exclaimed. Guyu Holy Sun looked around coldly. He looked at the 2 feng shui masters on the mountain, at Yin Chuan, and at Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi is just poisoned. She won't die. That skeleton won't dare to do anything. Guyu Holy Sun said lightly. Oh, Yang Zigu nodded with furrowed brows. At this time, Yang Zhijiu also looked at Yishan. Is this the treasure? Yang Zigu's expression changed slightly. Perfected masters, follow me, Guyu said in a deep voice. Yes, the 8 men behind, Guyu replied. The rest of the Immortal State warriors, stay here and follow Zichuan and Ziwen to stop anyone from entering. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Yes, the 50 Immortal State warriors replied. Guyu looked at Zichuan and then at Yin Chuan. A murderous look flashed in his eyes. Yes, Zichuan nodded. Then, Guyu led the 8 perfected masters to the Jade Mountain. I'm coming too, Yang Ziga shouted. Chapter 428. Outside the derivative world. The Emperor stood at the top of a mountain and watched a sunlight cover enter the derivative world. Guyu Holy Sun was inside the cover. Is this place really in ruins? The emperor frowned. The heavenly jade palace is open. Even demons and monsters are coming out. The emperor said coldly. As he spoke, he walked toward the derivative world. In the derivative world, Guyu Holy Sun flew out of the great solar merit sky formation with 8 immortals. I'll go too, Yang Ziga shouted. Guyu Holy Sun frowned slightly, but did not stop them. The 10 of them flew toward the Jade Mountain. But at this moment, even though Poisoner had thousands of phoenix, he did not dare to attack the 10 of them. He allowed them to fly close and enter the Jade Mountain. They disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yin Chuan frowned and thought. At this moment, 2 sharp eyes suddenly turned to him. Ziwen and Zi Chuan. The 2 of them looked at Yin Chuan coldly. Yin Chuan felt something and looked at them immediately. There were 2 virtual realm experts and nearly 50 God-state experts in the Great Solar Merit Sky Formation. They were all under Guyu Holy Sun's command. Yin Chuan, you can't escape this time. Zi Chuan sneered. Holy Sun ordered to kill Yin Chuan. Ziwen also ordered. The group of Immortal State warriors looked at Yin Chuan curiously. Everyone saw clearly that he was at LV9 of the Essence State. Was he at such a low cultivation? Did he have to use so much power? Young Master, go quickly. You guys protect the Young Master and leave. Qing Long shouted. Yes. Bai Long and others replied. Meow, this is bad. Meow was worried. Boom! There was a loud noise in the distance, and a white light suddenly shot into the formation. Ooh! In the middle of Yin Chuan, Ziwen, and the others, a white figure suddenly appeared. Emperor, Yin Chuan asked in surprise. As soon as the emperor entered, he immediately scanned his surroundings. In the end, he looked at the Jade Mountain. The heavenly Jade Palace is open. Did anyone go in? The emperor looked at Yin Chuan and asked. Yes. Yin Chuan nodded. In. The emperor took a step forward and was about to rush towards the Jade Mountain. Who? Ziwen suddenly appeared in front of the emperor. Who are you? Ziwen asked coldly. Scram. The emperor said coldly. A mere chi state cultivator dares to ask me to leave? Humph. Ziwen coldly snorted, and a powerful aura shot out. The emperor raised his head and looked at Ziwen coldly. Ziwen's aura couldn't suppress the emperor at all. Xing. The emperor unsheathed his bronze blade and looked at Ziwen coldly. The Holy Sun has said that no one is allowed to enter. I think you are tired of living. Ziwen reached out his hand and attacked. Boom! The blade and the palm collided, and the surroundings shook violently. The palm of an abyssal realm cultivator was so powerful that it pushed the emperor back 100 meters. I think you are tired of living, the emperor said coldly. On the other side, Yin Chuan's eyes lit up. He saw an opportunity. Qing Long, stop Zi Chuan. Yin Chuan said, child, what are you going to do? Qing Long was surprised. I need to break through as soon as possible, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Xing. Yin Chuan pulled out the Jade Emperor's sword from his back. Meow? Meow? Meow was confused. Bai Long, Rose Finch, Xuan Wu, take care, Meow. Don't let anything happen to Meow. Yin Chuan handed over Meow. Child, what are you doing? Rose Finch was surprised. Meow. Meow also cried. Yin Chuan handed over Meow and said, You only have one chance. Listen to me and do as I say. Chapter 429. After that, Yin Chuan rushed out. The Immortal State warriors looked at Yin Chuan in shock. Is he crazy? Yin Chuan is rushing towards me? Thump, thump, thump. Yin Chuan's heart suddenly beat faster. Boom! Yin Chuan's aura suddenly surged, and a large amount of blood mist swirled around his body. Yin Chuan's long hair suddenly turned bright red, and his blood-red eyes carried a sinister smile as he looked at the great solar merit heavenly formation. TSK, TSK. Who wants to kill me? Come on. Yin Chuan said arrogantly. Humph. Zi Chuan rushed over. Boom. Qing Long stood in front of Zi Chuan. Suddenly, it became a group of Immortal State warriors facing Yin Chuan. You're just an Essence State warrior. How dare you? An immortal state warrior rushed out of the formation. He rushed towards Yin Chuan with a broadsword in his hand. Star power, come on! Yin Chuan shouted to the sky. Boom! A ray of starlight pierced through the derivative world and shrouded Yin Chuan. Rumble! Yin Chuan was surrounded by gravel. A powerful force spread out and pressed towards the immortal state warrior opposite him. The immortal state warrior's face changed. Are you afraid? Yin Chuan laughed. There was a light of provocation in his eyes. The arrogant blood demon was here again. Humph, you're courting death. The immortal state warrior approached him in an instant. Boom! The sword and the broadsword collided. A huge airflow spread out around them. How is it possible? He's just an essence state warrior. How can he block the power of an immortal state warrior? The immortal state warriors in the great solar merit formation exclaimed. Roar! The immortal state warrior exerted more strength. Sword 19. Whoosh! A ray of blood light shot up to the sky. The immortal state warrior was cut in half from his chest. His internal organs flew out. A divine realm expert died on the spot. Am I seeing things? The immortal state warriors in the distance exclaimed. The Jade Emperor's sword extracted the blood chi of the God Realm expert and poured a portion of it into Yin Chuan's body. TSK, TSK, TSK. Deity Realm's blood chi is exuberant, Yin Chuan said with a laugh. As he spoke, Yin Chuan continued to walk towards the great solar virtuous heavenly formation. Kill him! Kill him! The group of divine realm warriors was enraged. Immediately, 5 of them surrounded him. Good timing. Yin Chuan laughed. He swung his sword and rushed forward. On the other side, Rose Finch, Xuan Wu, and the others were at a loss. Was this for real? Emperor turned his head to look at Yin Chuan, then raised his head to look at the huge pillar of starlight that enveloped Yin Chuan. Will of the Stars, a descendant of Yin Zizai? Not bad. The Emperor gave a simple evaluation. Star power, come. The Emperor also roared to the sky. Buzz! Another pillar of stars pierced through the derivative world and shrouded the Emperor. Bang! Suddenly, numerous stone spikes in the shape of swords emerged from the ground, protecting the Emperor and facing Ziwen. Numerous sword chi surrounded the Emperor as if he was shrouded in a storm of sword chi. At this moment, all the experts in the derivative world were at a loss. Will of the Stars. That was a profound secret method that could only be mastered after reaching the virtual realm. Looking for the natal star? Even Ziwen and Zichuan were not qualified to find it at this moment. But these 2 people, were they seeing things? Were they only at the essence state and the chi state? How did they find the natal star? Sword 19. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. For a moment, tens of thousands of blood-red sword chi shot out. Yin Chuan was also surrounded by a storm of sword chi. The Jade Emperor's sword in his hand kept colliding with the swords of the 5 divine realm experts. Clang, clang, clang. Yin Chuan's sword was very fast, so fast that the group of divine state warriors was a little flustered. Boom! Chapter 430. Smoke and dust rose from where the battle took place. Impossible. God, he is crazy. Help! The 5 immortal state Jiaohu were fighting in the dust. The battle that was supposed to be a foregone conclusion suddenly became strange. Yin Chuan had the upper hand. That was impossible. Let me check it out. 2 more immortal state warriors rushed into Yin Chuan's battle. Clang, clang, clang. Yin Chuan's battle never stopped. In the distance, Bai Long, Rose Finch, and Xuan Wu were confused. What should we do? What should we do? Rose Finch asked anxiously. Let's wait. Young Master is too different from ordinary people, Bai Long said with a frown. And that person, Young Master knows too many people, Rose Finch said with a frown. Not far away, the Emperor drew his long saber and slashed at Ziwen fiercely. Bam! Ziwen was smashed into the ground and his long sword broke. No, no, you are only in the chi state. It is impossible. Ziwen shouted. Sovereign Na drew star energy, slashing with each slash faster than the last. Ziwen immediately retreated little by little. He was in a mess. On the other hand, Zichuan suppressed Qing Long, but he was able to stall Zichuan. Looking at the battle, Zichuan was very anxious. "You idiots, kill Yin Chuan first. Go, go, go," Zichuan shouted. The Immortal State warriors in the Great Solar Merit Sky formation raised their eyebrows and flew out of the formation to attack Yin Chuan. 20th Blade. Bam! Ah! In the dust, screams came out. A large number of broken limbs flew up into the sky. Organs and intestines spilled out. Bang! When the dust settled, Yin Chuan, shrouded in starlight, stared coldly at the approaching Immortal State warriors. There were 7 more dismembered corpses on the ground. The Jade Emperor's sword was bright red. Yin Chuan could not stop smiling evilly. With thick blood aura. Again? Ha! Yin Chuan rushed toward the 40 over Divine Realm experts. "Let's attack together. Let's attack together." The group of Divine Realm experts also shouted in fear. Rumble! An even larger scale battle had begun. On the 2 platforms, Poisoner also saw the fighting going on around him, but he didn't let Phoenix go over. Instead, he continued to surround and kill Feng Yinyang. Yin, Ong, the dragon and Phoenix collided, and the battle continued. "Qinglong, get out of my way!" Zichuan shouted angrily. "Don't even think about it." Qinglong struggled to stand in front of Zichuan. Bastard! 20th Blade! Boom! Yin Chuan's battlefield was filled with a large number of dismembered corpses and limbs. Yin Chuan had turned into the blood demon and absorbed the will of the stars. With the amazing swordsmanship from his previous life, he was like a fish in the sea, killing a group of Immortal State warriors. Boom! Yin Chuan was sent flying by the group of Immortal State warriors. "Meow, Yin Chuan! Meow!" Jiaohu shouted. Yin Chuan broke a few trees, but he wasn't frustrated at all. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "Is that all you have?" Again. With a sense of madness, Yin Chuan once again charged into the group of Divine State warriors. The Jade Emperor's sword moved close to the ground and made a piercing sound. The killing began again. "You're courting death. Kill him!" The group of Immortal State warriors shouted. Phew! 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 The group of Immortal State warriors charged toward Qinfan. They were like a pack of wolves pouncing on a tiger. Meow! Meow covered its eyes and didn't dare to look. On the other side, the Emperor's eyes were filled with killing intent. Fish! Under the domineering saber technique, the saber cut off Ziwen's left hand. Ziwen held his hand in pain and looked at the Emperor in horror. Chapter 431. Bam! Yin Chuan was once again sent flying in the midst of the fierce battle. After crashing into a small mountain, Yin Chuan flipped over and got up. There was some blood on his cheeks, and the sleeve of his left arm was completely burnt. His left hand was blackened by the smoke. Yin Chuan wiped off the blood and grinned at the 30 Immortal State warriors. "My divine fire poison has entered his body. Why is he fine? He's a demon. Just now I was so close, so close. He's here again." A group of Divine Realm warriors screamed. Yin Chuan raised his sword and charged at them again. Whoosh! He threw out a vine whip with his left hand and wrapped it around an Immortal State warrior. The Immortal State warrior was pulled closer to Yin Chuan. 19th Blade. Bang! The Immortal State warrior was cut in half. Kill him. Bam! Once again, a group of wolves pounced on a tiger, killing each other savagely. Bang! Yin Chuan purposely borrowed the force and was sent flying. He took a deep breath. At this moment, Yin Chuan's chest and back were covered with knife and sword wounds. There were only 20 Immortal State warriors left. "I can't kill him. That's impossible. Why can't I kill him? My sword has pierced his chest. He should have lost a lot of energy. Why does he still have so much energy?" The blood chi and energy of the Jade Emperor's sword continued to flow into Yin Chuan's body. Some of his wounds were healing at a visible rate. Haha, almost there, almost there. Super Yin Chuan excitedly rushed forward again. Guys, don't hold back. If we don't give it our all, we will be finished. The Immortal State warriors screamed. Bang! 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 At this moment, Yin Chuan's character was like a madman. He fought desperately. His body was stabbed a few more times, but the effect was obvious. Soon, another 10 divine realm warriors became dry corpses. Roar! Yin Chuan roared, and his energy surged. The remaining 10 immortal state warriors looked at Yin Chuan in horror. No. The 10 immortal state warriors ran away in fear. They didn't dare to fight with Yin Chuan anymore. Everyone had already been killed to the point of cowering. This is crazy. Sick. The 10 immortal state warriors kept their minds blank as they looked at the immortal state warriors. 40 immortal state warriors were turned into mummies. Is he at the essence state? An immortal state warrior said, "Fuck the essence state. We shouldn't have come." Brother. The 10 immortal state warriors were scared and sad. This time, Yin Chuan didn't rush over. He stood on the top of a mountain. Roar! Boom! A loud sound came from Yin Chuan's body as a violent airflow blew in all directions. Yin Chuan's energy surged again. LV-10 of the essence state? He made a breakthrough. An immortal state warrior shouted. How can he make a breakthrough with such a serious injury? LV-9 of the essence state is already so bad. Now he is at LV-10? Who said he is at the essence state? I will kill him. The group of immortal state warriors ran away from Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan didn't look at them anymore. LV-10 of the essence state? Finally, he reached LV-10. Ziwen looked around. Under the king's long saber, he kept retreating. His hair was disheveled, and one of his arms was broken. He was covered in blood and was struggling. Chapter 432. You want me to die? I won't let you have it easy either. Qi reversal poison. Ziwen roared. As he roared, he stimulated his body's qi and blood, causing his strength to skyrocket. Humph! You've overestimated yourself. King's long blade once again brought out a superstorm and slashed towards Ziwen. On the other side, Zichuan was facing Qinglong. More than half of the immortal state warriors were killed, and Ziwen used Qi reversal poison. Zichuan was furious. Go to hell. He swung his long sword at Qinglong. Qinglong was covered with wounds, and his long sword was barely holding on. Don't even think about running away. Qi reversal poison. Qinglong smiled bitterly. Qinglong also tried his best to stimulate all of his potential and burst out with unprecedented power. The two swords collided. Boom! The violent airflow blew in all directions, causing the mountains to collapse and dust to rise to the sky. Phew! Zichuan waved his hand and the dust cleared. Zichuan spat out blood and leaned on the ground with his long sword, panting heavily. Apparently, Qinglong's desperate attack had hurt Zichuan's foundation. Qinglong was covered in blood and lay in a pool of blood far away, unable to move. Brother! Bai Long and the other screamed. Phew! Yin Chuan ran to Qinglong and stared coldly at Zichuan. Ha! Yin Chuan, let's see what you can do now. Zichuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered. Bai Long, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, come here. Yin Chuan shouted. Phew! The three of them quickly flew over with Meow. Meow looked at Yin Chuan, who was covered in blood. Sadness flashed across her eyes, but she didn't say anything. 40 immortal state warriors? It took the Holy Sun a lot of effort to recruit them. You kill them all by yourself? Even if I cut you into 1,000 pieces, you won't be able to atone for your sins. Zichuan walked over step by step. Master Zichuan, you must avenge my senior brother. Master Zichuan, my junior brother died a horrible death. 10 divine realm cultivators gathered around and said sadly, I will take my revenge. They must all die. Zichuan walked over step by step. At this moment, Qinglong had already lost his ability to fight. Yin Chuan was still covered with injuries after killing God Realm warriors. How could he deal with a virtual realm warrior? Young master, I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him. Qinglong said painfully. It's enough. It's enough. Yin Chuan shook his head. Bai Long, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, are you all in the complete divine realm? Yin Chuan looked at the three of them. Yes, it's a pity that you are all in the divine realm. Bai Long said with a pale face. I think so too. Qinglong is in the virtual realm. You can't be too far behind. In this case, Let's activate the heavens tribulation. Let's go through it together, Yin Xuan said with a smile. I don't have the ability to go through it now, Xuan Wu said worriedly. Listen to me. Activate it. I will help you. Yin Xuan shook his head. Bang! Yin Xuan's aura suddenly soared. Outside the derivative world, dark clouds suddenly gathered. Yin Xuan activated the heavens tribulation first. Rumble. The thunder kept roaring. Although they were separated by the death chi of the derivative world, there was still a strong pressure. What? The momentum of the second heavens tribulation? Zichuan looked up at the sky in surprise. Rumble. Rosefinch, Bailong, and Xuanwu also activated their own momentum. Their momentum soared to the sky. Suddenly, there were rolling clouds above Yin Chuan's tribulation cloud again. No, it's not the second heaven. It's the fourth heaven. Are they crazy? Are they going through the tribulation? Zichuan exclaimed. Quick, kill them. Zichuan shouted to the divine realm warriors. Chapter 433. But at this moment, those divine realm warriors were terrified by Yin Chuan and didn't dare to step forward. Idiot! Only one person can go through the heavenly tribulation. If there are too many people around, the heavenly tribulation will increase its power and destroy the people around. Zichuan shouted. But those divine realm warriors didn't dare to go to Yin Chuan. Bastard! Zichuan shouted angrily and shot towards Yin Chuan. It's too late, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Boom, 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 boom. Almost 1,000 thunderbolts fell from the sky and broke through the death chi in the derivative world where Yin Chuan was and exploded. Almost 1,000 thunderbolts danced like wild snakes and rushed towards them with great destructive power. Yin Chuan and his team were the first to bear the brunt of the thunderbolts. Zichuan and the 10 divine realm warriors were also hit by the thunderbolts. All the divine realm warriors shouted. Zichuan also raised his sword to face the sky. His cultivation was the highest among them, and he attracted the most thunderbolts except for those who were going through the heavenly tribulation. The power of the thunderbolts fell like a waterfall. They put their personal grudges aside and faced the thunderbolts together. When Bailong, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu were about to face the thunderbolts, Yin Chuan suddenly stood in front of them. Roar! Yin Chuan roared to the sky. With a loud roar, the hundreds of lightning bolts that were heading towards Yin Chuan's group suddenly gathered together and shot towards Yin Chuan's mouth, as if they were being pulled by a huge force. Boom! The heavenly tribulation and the heavenly tribulation finally gathered in Yin Chuan's mouth. Oh! Bailong's eyes almost popped out. What did I see? Rosefinch was stunned. Young master is swallowing the heavenly tribulation. Xuanwu murmured. The 4 of them were going through their tribulations. The lightning did not stop for even a moment as it rained down crazily. Round after round, they rose and fell. Yin Chuan's mouth was like a lightning rod, absorbing the thousands of lightning bolts coming from all directions. Rumble, rumble. The world seemed to be pitch black, and Yin Chuan instantly became the focus of everyone. On the other side, Zichuan, who had been injured but had to withstand a large amount of lightning, was in a difficult situation. While he was fighting against the heavenly thunder, he inadvertently glanced in Yin Chuan's direction. What? Zichuan was dumbfounded. Perhaps this was the most shocking thing he had ever seen in his life. Yin Chuan was swallowing countless heavenly thunders? Impossible. Zichuan rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Boom! 3 or 4 bolts of heavenly thunder blew up Zichuan's hair and clothes. Zichuan had no choice but to face the heavenly thunder with all his heart. But at this moment, how could he have the heart to face the heavenly thunder? Was this a joke? Zichuan was in a difficult situation, and the 10 immortal state warriors were even more embarrassed. Yin Chuan had exhausted them physically and mentally. When the heavenly thunder fell, they all wanted to escape as fast as they could. But no matter how fast they were, how could they be faster than the heavenly thunder? They had been targeted by the heavenly thunder. How could they escape? The 10 immortal state warriors were completely disappointed. On the other side, after forcing Ziwen into a corner, the emperor turned his head and looked at the sky. Then he looked at the spectacular scene of Yin Chuan swallowing the heavenly thunder and was a bit stunned. Yin Chuan? I underestimated you, the emperor said solemnly. However, the emperor only glanced at Ziwen and then focused on him again. Million knives in reverse. The emperor swung his saber, and thousands of knife qi rushed toward Ziwen. Ziwen was suddenly involved in thousands of knife qi. The two feng shui masters had been staring at the battle in the distance. Looking at the scene of Yin Chuan swallowing the heavenly thunder, they suddenly found that in this derivative world, Yin Chuan was the master, and they were just foils. Thousands of phoenix and nearly 1,000 dragons were just foils in front of the gorgeous heavenly thunder. No, the gorgeous heavenly thunder swallowing. Are you kidding? Can the heavenly thunder be swallowed like this? Poisoner was in a daze. Chapter 434. Crackle. Yin Chuan's pores emitted a large amount of thunder and lightning. The thunder and lightning came out of his body and circled around Yin Chuan's body. Roar. Yin Chuan kept swallowing the thunder and lightning. Bai Long, Rose Finch, and Xuanwu helped Qin Long to stand up slowly. Phew. When the thunder and lightning stopped, Yin Chuan pursed his lips. He turned his head and looked at Rose Finch and the other two with thunder and lightning all over his body. You have to do the last round by yourselves. Yes, thank you, young master, everyone said gratefully. It was the last round. This was the baptism of the heavenly tribulation. The three of them had been accumulating strength for a long time, so they could go through it with all their strength. Rumble. Another round of thunder and lightning fell from the sky. Boom. Silver snakes danced wildly and thunder fell like waterfalls. Not far away, the 10 divine realm warriors were dying. Zichuan was in a mess even though he was in the virtual realm. Yin Chuan ignored the others. More and more thunder and lightning surrounded Yin Chuan. Gradually, the thunder and lightning coiled around Yin Chuan and lifted him up slowly. Rumble. Yin Chuan's body was getting higher and higher. He swallowed part of the thunder and lightning and soared to the sky. Rumble. A large amount of thunder and lightning fell directly to the crowd. Bai Long, Rose Finch, and Xuanwu faced the last baptism of the heavenly tribulation with their fists. Miao stood beside Qin Long and looked at Yin Chuan, who was floating in the sky. A trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. No one noticed Miao's sadness. Anyway, Miao was very quiet at the moment. Rumble. The last round of thunder and lightning fell. The crack in the derivative world was slowly covered by the death qi in the sky. People could no longer see the tribulation clouds in the sky outside the derivative world. At the same time, Yin Chuan also came out of the derivative world. He flew in the sky and still roared. Roar. Rumble. The second tribulation cloud was pulled down by Yin Chuan. As Yin Chuan opened his mouth, the tribulation clouds surged into his mouth. If the people in the derivative world saw it, they would definitely be amazed. As Yin Chuan roared, the rolling tribulation clouds, just like the first level of tribulation clouds in the past, completely entered Yin Chuan's body. Not enough, not enough, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Raising his head, Yin Chuan looked up once more. Fourth stage tribulation clouds? Even higher up in the sky, the tribulation clouds of Rose Finch, Xuanwu, Bai Long, and the others had yet to disperse. Isn't it too early? No, I have super divine abilities. I have the will of the stars. I still have the will of the Emperor True Dragon from my previous life. Yin Chuan's face darkened. Buzz. Far away in the starry sky, the North Star shone even brighter. Star power surged into Yin Chuan's body. Roar. Opening his mouth, Yin Chuan stared at the fourth stage tribulation clouds and roared. Rumble. The fourth stage tribulation clouds suddenly rolled nonstop. It seemed to be angry at the provocation of the ants below. Swallowing the sky, Yin Chuan roared. Rumble. A large amount of thunder and lightning struck down. Yin Chuan faced the thunder and lightning. In the roar, the thunder and lightning rolled. Yin Chuan was surrounded by starlight and blood mist. Roar. A dragon roar soared into the sky. Rumble. Yin Chuan opened his mouth to absorb the thunder and lightning, and kept sucking in the fourth stage tribulation clouds. The tribulation clouds struggled, but slowly moved over under Yin Chuan's efforts. Rumble. The tribulation clouds came to Yin Chuan's mouth. Roar. Yin Chuan absorbed fiercely. Crackle. Yin Chuan's flesh body was trembling violently, and countless thunder and lightning exploded in his body. Rumble. The thunder and lightning kept exploding, as if to blow up Yin Chuan's flesh body. Chapter 435. Roar. The true dragons will solidify Yin Chuan's body, preventing it from exploding. Rumble. Yin Chuan's entire body was trembling. His clothes were charred, and his skin was constantly charred. He felt like he was about to be electrocuted. Whoosh! He swallowed the tribulation cloud in one gulp. The fourth tribulation cloud was also swallowed. Buzz! Yin Chuan closed his pores to prevent the lightning from leaking out. Go to my shunting acupoint. Yin Chuan glared with bloodshot eyes. Rumble. Yin Chuan's body exploded. Countless lightning bolts and tribulation clouds surged into his heavenly court acupoint, merging with the black clouds that were swallowed last time. More and more black clouds gathered. Suddenly, it expanded, and endless lightning bolts exploded in his shunting acupoint. It was as if the shunting acupoint was about to explode. Roar! A golden dragon roared. The true dragons will fiercely compress the endless lightning bolts. Whoosh! The lightning bolts were compressed and immediately shrank, as if they had become smaller. Boom! The tribulation cloud exploded again, and the golden dragon compressed again. One explosion and one contraction, a total of 361 times. Yin Chuan felt like his body and mind were being tortured. Finally, an hour later, everything was over. The golden dragon was exhausted, but the tribulation cloud in his shunting acupoint had changed. It turned green, and a vigorous vitality emerged. Green? Shouldn't my birth chart be golden? Why did it turn green? Yin Chuan was shocked. Maybe it's because of my reincarnation. However, no matter what, I finally mastered the heaven-devouring Taoist scripture, the cultivation technique I obtained from the sky-burying coffin in my previous life. Using the heaven-devouring poison in the heaven-devouring Taoist scripture, I finally completed the first stage. A heavenly tribulation of my own? A heavenly tribulation of my own? Since it's green, let's call it the azure thundercloud. Yin Chuan sighed. Ignoring his charred body, Yin Chuan looked at a mountain in the distance and stared. Boom! A bolt of heavenly lightning appeared out of nowhere and struck the mountain with a loud bang. Rumble! The peak of the tall mountain exploded. The power of the heavenly thunder of the second heaven? It seems like it's limited by my cultivation base. Depending on the number of heavenly tribulations I've passed, I can control the heavenly lightning in the heavens. As for my clear sky thundercloud, it only consumes a little and can be recovered in a breath's time. Yin Chuan analyzed in deep thought. Heaven-devouring Tao scripture? There were a total of 9 stages, and one could control the heavenly tribulation at the first stage. What will the 9th stage be like? Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with anticipation. In the Qi state, one could release Qi from their body, from a wall of Qi, or control some Qi to float themselves. This was also the reason why Qi Jing warriors were able to float in the air. Slowly sinking, he quickly entered the derivative world again. Bastard, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, the Holy Sun will avenge us. Zichuan's sorrowful voice came from the derivative world. Rosefinch and Xuanwu were chasing after Zichuan, who was seriously injured at the moment. Boom! Zichuan rushed out of the derivative world. The two looked at each other and finally didn't chase after him. On the other side, Ziwen had already died. The emperor stood quietly beside Ziwen's body, as if he was waiting for Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan entered the derivative world with his charred body. Meow. Meow rushed over worriedly. I'm fine. Meow. Give me a set of clothes. The black parts on my body are dead skin. Yin Chuan smiled. With a gentle tear, the charred skin on his arm was torn off, revealing the white and tender skin inside. Meow. Meow quickly poured out a set of clothes from the small felt hat. Whoosh! Yin Chuan waved his hand, and smoke covered the clothes. Chapter 436. Soon, Yin Chuan finished changing his clothes. He waved his hand, and the dust around him cleared away. There was a layer of burnt skin on the ground. Yin Chuan even tore off his original red hair and scalp, but a new scalp grew out from the inside. There was even black hair that was more than an inch long. After swallowing the lightning, Yin Chuan's super theurgy was suppressed, and he returned to his original appearance, but now his hair was cropped. Meow, Yin Chuan, your hair. Meow jumped onto Yin Chuan's shoulder. It's okay, it will grow back soon. Yin Chuan comforted, but Meow was still in a bad mood. Young master, did you just swallow the lightning? Bai Long was still in disbelief. What? Yin Chuan laughed. What's your level now? Bai Long asked anxiously. The scene of Yin Chuan swallowing the lightning was too fierce. If he did that, he would have been killed. After the tribulation, aren't you all at the first stage of Qi Jing? Yin Chuan asked. First stage of Qi Jing? Bai Long was in disbelief. Yes. Yin Chuan nodded. Bai Long. Vermilion bird and black tortoise, who had just rushed back. Everyone was confused. First stage of Qi Jing? What a joke. Those immortal state warriors are all dead. Only Zichuan escaped. Rosefinch said, Young master, thank you so much. We are all in the emptiness realm. Although we are only in the lower emptiness realm, it's all thanks to you. Xuanwu said solemnly. Yin Chuan nodded and looked at Mou, she who was like a puppet in the distance. Young master, can we save the saintess now? Xinglong walked over with his injuries. Not yet. Poisoner controls too many phoenixes. Most of those phoenixes are at the lower emptiness realm. Only those at the middle emptiness realm can forcefully rescue Yu Shi. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Then what should we do? Xinglong asked anxiously. The four of you stay here and protect Yu Shi. Remember, don't act rashly. That poisoner doesn't dare to hurt Yu Shi now. As long as Yu Shi doesn't die, everything will be easy. Yin Chuan said. Yes. The four of them replied solemnly. Young master, what about you? Xinglong asked. I'll go to Jade Mountain and look for an opportunity. At least, I'll find a way to disrupt their plans and make Poisoner retreat helplessly. If he escapes, the derivative world will end. At that time, it will be the best time to save Yu Shi. Don't miss it. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes. The four of them replied. Yin Chuan. The emperor shouted not far away. Yin Chuan frowned and looked at the emperor. Originally, I was going to go in alone. Now I've changed my mind. You're qualified to go with me. The emperor said in a deep voice. Go with you. Yin Chuan was puzzled. You're the descendant of Yin Zizai. You should have a share of everything in the immortal sanctuary. Heavenly Jade Palace was originally brought by my father and Yin Zizai. You're qualified to have a share of the inheritance. Come with me. The emperor said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan's expression flickered for a while. Finally, he nodded solemnly and said, Okay. Meow. Meow jumped on Yin Chuan's shoulder. Only you can go with me. The emperor shook his head and said, Meow. Meow meowed. Meow, wait for me outside. Yin Chuan advised. Okay. Meow nodded very obediently this time. That's the great solar merit heaven formation that Guyu brought in. It's a merit formation. It doesn't block living people, but it targets the virtual things in the feng shui formation. If Poisoner sends Phoenix to attack you, hide in the great solar merit heaven formation. Yin Chuan said. Yes. Qinglong and the others nodded. Yin Chuan followed the emperor and quickly walked to the front of Jade Mountain. Let's go. Yin Chuan was about to step in. The emperor shook his head and said, Heavenly Jade Palace, it's not like this. Oh, you're the descendant of Yin Zizai, and I'm the descendant of my father. We'll use our blood to open the door and enter the deepest part. The emperor said. As he spoke, he forced out a trace of blood from his finger and pressed it on the Jade Mountain. Whoosh! The emperor was pulled into the Jade Mountain. Yin Chuan thought for a while and followed the emperor's method. He forced out his blood and pressed it on the Jade Mountain. Immediately, the Jade Mountain sucked his blood in. Chapter 4:37. Swish! Yin Chuan was instantly sucked into the Jade Mountain. It was as though he had passed through a passage of light. 5 breaths later, he suddenly stopped. His feet touched the ground. Buzz! The moment he touched the ground, he saw a huge energy sword slashing toward his face. Yin Chuan raised an eyebrow. Just as he was about to counterattack, a ripple suddenly appeared in front of him. The ripple blocked the power of the astral swords. Boom! The energy sword retreated. At this moment, Yin Chuan saw clearly that there was a huge cover around Yin Chuan. He was inside the cover. Inside the cover was a huge palace with the words Heavenly Jade Palace written on it. The emperor was walking toward the Heavenly Jade Palace. Outside the cover were Shin Kuan Kuroha, Guyu Holy Sun, and the others. Outside the cover was a world with yellow light. There were mountains and rivers. 6 perfected masters were fighting against Shin Kuan Kuroha and the others. Guyu Holy Sun, Yang Zigu, and 2 other perfected masters were surrounding the huge cover. The 2 perfected masters were attacking the cover continuously. Yin Chuan? It's Yin Chuan! Yang Zigu suddenly exclaimed. Yin Chuan? Impossible! Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. When they saw Yin Chuan, the battle outside stopped abruptly. The Emptiness Realm experts stared at Yin Chuan, who was inside the cover, in disbelief. We searched for a long time before we found him. The cover was broken for a long time. How did Yin Chuan get in? One of the perfected masters said with an unsightly expression. Yin Chuan? And the emperor? Yang Ziga looked at the 2 perfected masters in surprise. Yin Chuan looked at the crowd through the cover. Finally, he turned to look at Guyu Holy Sun. Yin Chuan smiled at Guyu Holy Sun. To Guyu Holy Sun, this smile seemed to be mocking him. Bastard, attack. Attack together. Hey you guys attack together. I'll split the treasures with you. Guyu shouted. Shinku and Kuroha looked at Guyu Holy Sun. After a moment of silence, he finally nodded and said, All right, Hong. The group of Emptiness Realm experts forcefully broke through the barrier. Yin Chuan turned his head and followed the emperor's footsteps. Yin Chuan, you bastard! Stop right there. Everything inside is mine. Mine. Guyu roared angrily. However, Guyu Holy Sun was isolated from the outside world and could not stop it. Boom! The emperor pushed open the gate of the Heavenly Jade Palace. Bang! Countless black lights suddenly rushed out of the Heavenly Jade Palace. They were not stopped by the barrier and flew out in all directions. The will of the Phoenix? Is this the will of the Netherworld Phoenix? The treasures of the Phoenix people are inside? Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. Come back, you bastards! Guyu Holy Sun hit the barrier with his palm. The barrier only rippled a little. Buzz! Guyu Holy Sun waved his sleeve, and a huge coffin appeared. It was the sky-burying coffin that he had obtained in the Demon Wind Mountain range. Open! The sky-burying coffin suddenly became 10,000 times bigger and smashed toward the barrier. Boom! The powerful aura forced the group of experts to retreat. Under the great force of the sky-burying coffin, a crack suddenly appeared on the barrier. Just as Guyu Holy Sun was celebrating, the crack suddenly disappeared as if it had never existed. How is this possible? What kind of barrier is this? Shin Kuan Koha said in surprise. The stronger the barrier, the more precious the treasures of the Phoenix people are. Yang Ziga said. Yin Chuan and the emperor had already stepped into the barrier. Chapter 438. Bang! The door of the main hall slammed shut. Bastard, open! Guyu Holy Sun roared angrily. The sky-burying coffin came crashing down again. Yin Chuan and the emperor stepped into the Heavenly Jade Palace. This is... Yin Chuan looked at the interior of the Heavenly Jade Palace in surprise. The interior was filled with luminous pearls. In the center of the main hall, there was a huge phoenix that was 500 feet long. The phoenix was pitch black, surrounded by a large number of phoenix shadows. The Black Phoenix seemed to be in a deep sleep. As the two stepped into the main hall, the huge Black Phoenix seemed to wake up slowly. "Aunt Ming, is that you?" The Emperor suddenly called out. Black Phoenix turned her head, as if she was recalling something. Finally, she said with a kind voice, "Girl, you're finally here. Aunt Ming, my father is dead. My father is dead." The Emperor suddenly cried and ran to Black Phoenix. When he got close, the Emperor hugged Black Phoenix affectionately. But as soon as he hugged her, the Emperor let go and looked at Black Phoenix in surprise. "Aunt Ming, this," the Emperor said in surprise. "Oh, not only is your father dead, but my original body is also dead," Black Phoenix said bitterly. "How could this be? When we came here together, we were powerful enough to sweep the world. How could this happen? Aunt Ming, why are you also dead? What happened?" The Emperor said in a panic. "I don't know," Black Phoenix said bitterly. "Why don't you know? Who killed you? Who killed you?" The Emperor said anxiously. Shaking her head, Black Phoenix said bitterly, "I don't know what happened either. My original body used her essence chi clone to separate me. She didn't copy all of her memories to me. She kept a lot of her memories and left me the Supreme Dark Phoenix." "Supreme Dark Phoenix?" the Emperor said in surprise. "Yes, after my original body died, I should have been annihilated along with her ashes. Because of the Supreme Dark Phoenix and her original body's will, I survived until now. But when the Heavenly Jade Palace opened, a large amount of phoenixes will leak out. I will dissipate soon." Black Phoenix smiled bitterly. "Why did this happen? Back then, we shouldn't have come here," the Emperor said sorrowfully. "Don't cry. Perhaps they already knew before they died. Thus they created this space and left your father's saber intent here. Perhaps my existence is to bring saber intent to you." The Black Phoenix smiled faintly. An azure blade of light suddenly appeared in front of the Black Phoenix. The inch-long saber hovered in the air and gave off an extremely sharp saber intent. Many people in the world covet the saber demon's saber intent. Unfortunately, other than the saber demon's bloodline, anyone who obtains it will only be demonized by the saber intent and become a puppet controlled by the saber intent. This was prepared for you. Even if someone else obtains it, they won't be able to use it," Black Phoenix said with a smile. "Father?" The Emperor reached out with a complicated expression. Whoosh! The green saber light instantly entered the Emperor's body. Bang! 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 Nearly 100 massive astral sabers appeared around the Emperor. These astral sabers were extremely sharp. Even someone as strong as Yin Chuan could barely hold on. "This is?" Yin Chuan said in shock. "The saber demon's 98 saber intents. Girl, your father really put a lot of thought into this," Black Phoenix said bitterly. The Emperor was absorbing the saber demon's saber intent. Black Phoenix looked at Yin Chuan. "Who are you?" Black Phoenix asked indifferently. Chapter 439. According to what she told me, I should be Yin Zizai's descendant. Yin Chuan explained. Yin Zizai's descendant? That's right. Only their descendants can enter the Heavenly Jade Palace. It's a pity that Yin Zizai didn't leave anything for his descendants. Black Phoenix said. "Is that so?" Yin Chuan said with a look of pity. "Girl, you have obtained the Saber Demon's Saber Will. Since you are Yin Zizai's descendant, I can't let you return empty-handed. I'll give you this great dark yellow universal jade." Black Phoenix said after thinking for a while. "What about you?" Yin Chuan asked. "Me? It won't be long before I turn to dust. What's the point of keeping this jade?" Sigh. Black Phoenix sighed. "Thank you, Senior," Yin Chuan said solemnly. "However, without the support of Phoenix's will, this space will soon collapse." Black Phoenix said. "It's fine. I don't need this space." Yin Chuan nodded. Whoosh! Emperor opened his eyes, and 2 rays of saber will shot out from his eyes. The saber will instantly retracted back into his body. "Girl, how's your comprehension?" Black Phoenix asked. "My father's lifetime of knowledge is poured into this. It will take some time for me to fully comprehend it." Emperor shook his head. "That's good. I have something that I need your help with." Black Phoenix said. Aunt Ming, speak. Emperor said solemnly. Senior, speak. Yinchuan also said solemnly. Before my original body died, he gave me the supreme Dark Phoenix. I'm about to be annihilated. Help me find another Dark Phoenix and pass it on to him. Black Phoenix said. As she spoke, a dark purple crystal appeared in front of Black Phoenix. It emitted a dark purple aura. Supreme Dark Phoenix? The Emperor frowned as he looked at the dark purple crystal. Yin Chuan's expression changed, and he immediately said, Dark Phoenix? I know that outside this jade mountain, there's a Dark Phoenix. After the will of the Phoenix appeared, it was aimed at her. The Emperor frowned and looked at Yin Chuan, but he didn't say anything in the end. Her? I've investigated her, and she does indeed have the bloodline of the Dark Phoenix. However, she also has the bloodline of the human race. She's a mixed blood. Black Phoenix shook her head. Mixed blood? Senior, no matter what, she has the bloodline of the Dark Phoenix race. I don't know what the Dark Phoenix venerate is, but I know that it is the most precious treasure of your Phoenix race. If a Dark Phoenix doesn't inherit it for a long time, countless variables will occur, just like what happened to you in the past. The Emperor and I can only say that we will do our best, but we may not necessarily be able to find another pure-blooded Dark Phoenix. What if? Yin Chuan explained. Yes. Who would have thought of what happened in the past? I believe that you will do your best, but sometimes, even if you do your best, Black Phoenix revealed a trace of bitterness. The Emperor frowned and looked at Yin Chuan, but he didn't refute. Go, Black Phoenix said softly. Ing. The crystal-like supreme Dark Phoenix suddenly turned into a dark purple phoenix and rushed out of the main hall. It rushed out of the main hall, out of the cover, brushed past the experts, and quickly flew out of the Jade Mountain. Ing. The purple phoenix instantly rushed towards Mo Yushi, who was being used as a puppet. Poisoner was surprised when the dark purple phoenix rushed into Mo Yushi's body. She screamed in pain while unconscious. Rumble. Mo Yushi's body emitted a large amount of purple light. The purple light filled her entire body, and the poisonous light that was originally enveloping her body suddenly disappeared. Yin Chuan's main god poison was quickly cleansed. A dark purple crystal suddenly appeared between Mo Yushi's eyebrows. It seemed to be embedded between her eyebrows, making Mo Yushi look even more noble and beautiful. Purple clouds surrounded Mo Yushi as the boundless phoenix will rushed over. Hum. Tens of thousands of phoenixes cried out in unison, pouncing straight towards Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi's area instantly became chaotic. How could that be? How can this be? Poisoner was so shocked that he kept forming hand seals. However, the hand seals seemed to be useless at this moment. Impossible. How could this be? Poisoner pushed aside a large number of phoenix and rushed in. Just as they rushed in, a jade-like hand grabbed the Poison Master's skull. You're awake? Poisoner cried out in shock. Kacha! Poisoner's skull was instantly twisted off by the ice-cold Mo Yushi. Chapter 440. Within the heavenly Jade Palace, the venerable Dark Phoenix flew out. Black Phoenix immediately became dispirited. Boom! Suddenly, the heavenly Jade Palace shook violently. The barrier covering the heavenly Jade Palace shook violently. It's about to be broken, Holy Sun. A congratulatory voice came from the outside. Heaven-burying coffin break. There was a loud explosion in the outside world as the barrier exploded in front of the huge sky-burying coffin. The entire heavenly Jade Palace crumbled under this tremendous force. The Black Phoenix spread its wings to protect the two people in the hall. He lowered his head and looked coldly at Guyu Holy Sun. Everyone in the outside world was astonished. Phoenix? Dark Phoenix? Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. Originally, he thought that it was just a treasure. How could there be a living creature inside? You're courting death, Black Phoenix said coldly. He spread his wings. Suddenly, A boundless dark purple aura erupted. Boom! Endless dark purple chi instantly filled the entire space. Other than Yin Chuan and Emperor, everyone else was entangled by the dark purple chi. Ah, the poison of the netherworld. Shinkoen Kuroha's expression changed drastically. Not only Shinkoen Kuroha, but also Yang Zigu, the emptiness realm experts, and Guyu Holy Sun's faces darkened. All of them had been poisoned. Guyu Holy Sun stared at the huge phoenix in horror. He was at the middle emptiness realm. How could he be powerless in front of this phoenix? Bam, 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 bam. With just a flap of its wings, everyone fell to the ground. No, I can't die. Yang Ziga screamed in horror. The Black Phoenix was too terrifying. Just spreading its wings? Black Phoenix looked at the group of people coldly. Those who dare to barge into the heavenly Jade Palace die? Phoenix said coldly. Just as Black Phoenix finished speaking, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Who dares to kill my son? His voice was filled with anger. A vast light suddenly rushed into the main hall. The light was golden and filled with heat. Father, Guyu Holy Sun said excitedly. Father, Father, save me, Father. Yang Zigu also screamed. Mohina, Dojin. Yinchuan raised an eyebrow. The scorching light seemed to come from a distance, filling the entire space with a loud bang. Eem! The Black Phoenix was provoked and let out an angry roar. With a furious roar, he turned his head to look at Yin Chuan and Emperor, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Boom! Black Phoenix's body suddenly erupted with an enormous aura. Her aura soared to the sky, causing everyone to tremble incessantly. Boom! Almost everyone was sent flying in an instant. Ah, Father, save me! Yang Zigu exclaimed. Boom! Yin Chuan, Emperor, and everyone else were sent flying by the Black Phoenix's aura. Boom! Yin Chuan fell to the ground in one direction. Eem! Not far away, a loud cry of a phoenix could be heard. From the ground, a huge phoenix with a height of 500 feet rushed out. The phoenix was surrounded by countless phoenix shadows. They soared to the sky and rushed towards the huge light pillar that shot down from the sky. Rumble. Under the impact of this powerful aura, the derivative world was shattered into pieces. At this moment, Emo Yushi also extended his hand and blasted a pile of skeletons. Chapter 441. Be destroyed. Emo Yushi shouted coldly. No, the skull screamed. Poisoner had already turned into a pile of broken bones. Only his head could speak. Bang! Under Mo Yushi's furious roar, the poison master exploded with a loud bang, turning into ashes and completely dissipating. Saintess, Qing Long and the others surrounded her. More than 10 bodies flew out from all directions like heavenly maidens scattering flowers. All of them fell to the ground. A huge black phoenix soared into the sky. Countless phoenix phantoms appeared in all directions. There are tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of phoenix phantoms circling around. The black phoenix flew high into the sky and looked coldly at the Taoist-robed figure in the golden light pillar. It was Mohina Dojin's virtuous Dharma idol. It's you, Mohina, Dojin exclaimed. You've also reached the upper emptiness realm? Your son broke into my palace. Did you ask him to do so? Black Phoenix said coldly. Me? You're just a clone. The world has already changed. Dark Phoenix Lord, your era has already passed. You'd better surrender and let me refine you. Mohina Dojin shouted coldly. Ha! A scoundrel like you wants to refine my clone? Roar! Black Phoenix shouted, and a huge aura burst out. Countless phoenix phantoms circled around, forming a huge phoenix barrier in the sky. Inside, Mohina Dojin's virtuous Dharma idol was like a blazing sun, burning the phoenix phantoms. Rumble, heaven and earth trembled. The two peerless experts fought fiercely in the sky. The huge airflow blew away the surrounding mountains, causing them to collapse. Not far away, Yin Chuan slowly got up. When he got up, he felt something hard in his hand. He looked down and saw a piece of jade the size of a watermelon in his palm. It was the heaven-earth great mystic yellow universal jade. Yin Chuan turned to look at the jade mountain in the distance. The distant jade mountain had already disappeared. Black Phoenix fulfilled his promise and shrunk the jade mountain to Yin Chuan. Meow, meow. Meow ran over worriedly. Meow, quick, let me borrow your hat. Yin Chuan immediately called out. Meow. Meow quickly took off the felt hat. Using the precious jade, he threw it at the small felt hat. Ooh, the heaven-burying coffin fell into the small felt hat. The space in the jade had completely collapsed. Phew! Yin Chuan let out a long breath. He turned his head to look at Feng Yinyang, who was on the mountain peak not far away. As soon as Poisoner died and the derivative world was destroyed, Feng Yinyang was freed. He looked up at the powerful Mohina Dojin in the sky and was silent for a while, as if he was making a decision in his heart. In the end, after being silent for a while, he still wanted to rush to the place where Guyu Holy Sun was. Feng Yinyang, Yin Chuan shouted. Feng Yinyang paused. Let's escape first. Come and find me later. Yin Chuan smiled. This smile made Feng Yinyang realize something. He nodded his head and instantly rushed into the forest to escape. Ooh! Mo Yushi brought Qing Long and the others and flew near Yin Chuan. Fused! Yin Chuan looked at Mo Yushi expectantly. Mo Yushi bit her lips and her eyes flashed with gratitude. But soon, the look of gratitude turned into gentleness. Mo Yushi nodded her head excitedly. Yin Chuan, Emperor, suddenly flew over from afar. Yin Chuan looked at Emperor in confusion. Mo Yushi also frowned and looked at Emperor. Let me ask you, who is Mohina Dojin? Emperor asked in a deep voice. One of the 3 Tao lords of the Dajiao, holy ground. Yin Chuan said. Chapter 442. Where are the other 2? The Emperor asked anxiously. Yin Chuan looked at Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi nodded. One is called Tao Lord Yu. Mo Yushi explained. Morning? Yu? The sun and moon attendants? The Emperor asked in a deep voice. You know him? Yin Chuan asked curiously. There's another one. Is it a girl named Jing? The Emperor asked with certainty. It's a woman, but her name isn't Jing. She was the master of the Great Revelation Holy Land, and her name was Tao Lord Jingying, or Holy Lord Jingying, the #1 person in the world. She shook her head and looked at the Emperor in confusion. Huh? The sun and moon in the sky, illuminating the earth? The most powerful person in the world? As expected, her ambition has turned into reality. The Emperor said in a deep voice, You know the 3 Tao Lords of the Great Revelation Holy Land? She said in surprise. The Emperor did not answer. Instead, he looked at Yin Chuan and said, I'm leaving. Yin Chuan nodded. Swish! Emperor stepped into the forest and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yin Chuan, who is she? She asked in confusion. Yin Chuan shook his head and said, Now is not the place to talk. Let's talk later. She nodded. Yin Chuan looked up at the sky. Meow, that phoenix is a doppelganger, right? So desperate. Meow Meow cried. This is her final battle, and she's about to disperse. Naturally, she has to release her final splendor. Phoenix dances in the 9 heavens. Yin Chuan sighed softly. Boom, boom, boom. Heaven and earth trembled violently from the battle between the 2 peerless powerhouses. Images of Phoenix appeared everywhere. For a moment, tens of thousands of phoenixes cried out and gathered to fight against the blazing sun. In the midst of the battle between experts, Shinku and Kuroha and the group of elders struggled to get up. Shinku and Kuroha took out a golden pill. Quick, eat the golden flame pill left behind by the Lord to suppress the poison of the netherworld. Shinku and Kuroha shouted. As they spoke, the 6 of them quickly swallowed the golden pills. Ooh! Golden runes suddenly appeared on the bodies of the 6 people. It was like a tattoo. Sectmaster, it's just suppressing it. The poison of the netherworld is too terrifying. It's impossible to get rid of it without a few years. An elder said with a complicated expression. Let's get out of here first. Shinku and Kuroha shouted. Swish! The 6 of them quickly shot in one direction. Those bastards, I'm going to kill them. Bai Long was about to kill them. It's a pill that stimulates one's potential. It can't expel the poison, but it can stimulate one's potential for a short period of time and suppress the poison of the netherworld with one's own strength. We can't stop them now. Yin Chuan shook his head. Father, save me. I can't hold on any longer. Yang Zigu shouted to the sky. Swish! In the forest, a purple figure shot out and rushed to Guyu Holy Sun's side. Holy Sun, are you all right? It was Zichuan, who had escaped with serious injuries. Guyu Holy Sun's face was dark as he tried his best to expel the poison. Find my sky burying coffin for me, quick, Guyu Holy Sun said with hatred. Yes, yes, Zichuan shouted with difficulty. In the sky, the battle was getting more and more intense. The cries of thousands of phoenixes resounded in the sky. The black phoenix carried Mohina Dojin's virtuous Dharma form and rushed into the sky. So you're going to disperse? Go to hell. Mohina Dojin's roar came from the sky. Swish! The black phoenix was the last to release a dazzling brilliance and exploded. Hong! The black phoenix exploded and turned into hundreds of thousands of phoenix shadows. They exploded in all directions and scattered in all directions. The sky and earth were lit up by the countless phoenix shadows. Chapter 443. The black phoenix exploded, and the original high-altitude battlefield distorted intensely. Old bastard! Mohina Dojin's angry roar came from the sky. Hum, hum. The boundless will of Phoenix scattered in all directions, and then gradually dissipated. The black phoenix had self-destructed during the battle. It would rather be destroyed than to benefit Mohina Dojin. Within the golden light, Mohina Dojin was furious, but he gradually accepted the truth. Mohina Dojin's Dharma idol was a little damaged. Clearly, the black phoenix's self-destruction had caused some damage to Mohina Dojin. Save me. Father, save me. In the valley below, Yang Ziga screamed. Ooh! Mohina Dojin landed on the ground in an instant. In an instant, a huge pressure came crashing down. Endless heat seemed to be burning everything in the surroundings. There were 2 people lying on the ground. Yang Zigu and Guyu Holy Sun. Father, I have been poisoned by the netherworld. Guyu Holy Sun said expectantly. Father, save me. Yang Zigu also shouted. Mohina Dojin looked at his 2 sons. Without any hesitation, he instantly appeared in front of Yang Zigu. With a wave of his hand, a beam of golden light rushed into Yang Zigu's body, helping Yang Zigu remove the poison from his body. Father! Guyu's eyes flashed with sorrow. Father didn't even think about it, and went straight to Lao Jio's place. Even the slightest hesitation made Guyu feel a little better. However, Mohina Dojin did not hesitate to save Yang Zigu. Why? Lao Jio is just a piece of trash. Why can't father see his son's efforts? Why does he still value Lao Jio so much? Why? Guyu Holy Sun screamed in his heart. Boom! The netherworld poison in Yang Zigu's body was dispelled. Father, I'm much better, Yang Ziga shouted. And Mohina Dojin nodded. Mohina Dojin turned to look at Guyu Holy Sun. I told you to take care of Lao Jio. What did you do? If I hadn't discovered it in time, Lao Jio would be dead this time. Mohina Dojin scolded. It was as if he had opened up a wound and sprinkled a handful of salt on it. Guyu Holy Sun's heart turned cold. Although Mohina Dojin scolded him, he still extended his hand and sent a golden light into Guyu Holy Sun's body. Rumble. A large amount of black gas was forced out of Guyu Holy Sun's body. The netherworld poison in his body was also slowly dispelled. Thank you, Father, Guyu Holy Sun said sadly. Turning his head, Downlord Mini-Sun looked in Mo Yushi's direction. Despite being enveloped by the light, Downlord Furisun's appearance was still unclear. Yushi, Holy Maiden? Looks like you've gained a lot this time, Mohina Dojin said coldly. And Mo Yushi took a step forward and took a deep breath. Since Mohina Dojin is here, let's settle this matter. Oh, Mohina Dojin said coldly. The perfected Zichuan behind Guyu Holy Sun has offended his superiors. Mohina Dojin, please make a decision. Moyu, she said in a low voice. Offended his superiors? Mohina Dojin looked coldly at Zichuan. That's right. I'm the holy maiden of the Dazhao, holy ground, a perfected cultivator. He's only a perfected cultivator. He used a perfected cultivator to hurt a perfected cultivator and even caused a perfected cultivator to fall under the control of an outer sect. Since he dared to offend the Dazhao holy ground today, he'll definitely betray his sect in the future. Mohina Dojin, please make a decision. Moyu, she said seriously. Dao Lord. Zichuan immediately knelt down, trembling. Moyu, she, perfected cultivator, is what you said true? Mohina Dojin said coldly. Father, Zichuan was following my orders. He did what I wanted. Guyu Holy Sun shouted. Chapter 444. I'm not asking you. I'm asking Zichuan. Is what Moyu, she said true? Tell me the truth. Mohina Dojin shouted coldly. Guyu Holy Sun opened his mouth, but did not dare to speak. Yes, but at that time, Zichuan explained in fear. Yes, that's enough. Mohina Dojin said coldly. Those who rebel against their superiors will die. Mohina Dojin shouted coldly. Bang! Zichuan's body suddenly burned. Ah! Taoist Lord, please spare my life. Taoist Lord, please spare my life. Holy Sun, save me. Holy Sun, save me. In the fire, Zichuan screamed in fear. Boom! The fire suddenly rose, and Zichuan was burned to death in the blink of an eye. Mohina Dojin watched Zichuan die coldly. No one dared to plead for mercy. He turned around and looked at the 8 perfected persons of the Dazhao, Holy Sun, on the ground. The 8 perfected persons were all poisoned, and their faces were black. However, Mohina Dojin did not help them get rid of the poison. Learn your lesson after being poisoned. Mohina Dojin said coldly. Yes, the 8 perfected persons said respectfully. They did not dare to contradict him. Mohina Dojin looked at Guyu Holy Sun again and said coldly, Guyu, you have disappointed me. With that, he ignored the others and flew into the sky. Whoosh! Along with the golden light, it suddenly disappeared. He left in the blink of an eye. Watching Mohina Dojin leave, Guyu Holy Sun clenched his fists. His eyes were bloodshot. Unwillingness, sadness, and anger filled his mind. He had great ambitions, but his luck was always on the wrong side of things. Always. Roar! Guyu Holy Sun roared angrily. Taking a step, the ancient moon, Saint Child, soared into the sky with great sorrow. TCH. Yang Zhijio sneered disdainfully. Immortal City, Northern Mo Palace. In a large hall, Yin Chuan sat cross-legged alone. In front of him was a black and yellow jade. The heaven and earth great dark yellow jade? I was going to find some jade to make an imperial seal. Now that I have this jade, the other seals are nothing. The jade that I dreamed of in my previous life has appeared in this life. The heavens are helping me. Yin Chuan sighed. The imperial seal. The imperial seal is complete. All that's left is the imperial edict, investiture of the gods. I must obtain the god investiture strategy during this trip to Julu Academy. Yin Chuan pondered. Dong dong dong. The sound of knocking came from outside the palace. Rumble. The door suddenly opened. Moyushi pushed the door open. Miao stood on Moyushi's shoulder. Yin Chuan, the person you've been waiting for is here. Moyushi smiled. Come in together. Yin Chuan smiled. Moyushi carried Miao into the palace, followed by a black-robed man. It was Feng Yinyang who had left earlier. Feng Yinyang seemed to be a little agitated. When he came in, his fists were slightly clenched. Feng Yinyang, you're quite fast. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. He gave Moyushi a look, and Moyushi knowingly closed the door. Boom! After closing the door, the hall was illuminated by a luminous pearl. Please take a seat, Yin Chuan said with a smile. There was a square table at the side of the hall. Yin Chuan sat at the head of the table. Feng Yinyang sat below, and Moyushi sat to the side. Mo Yushi picked up the teapot on the table and poured tea for the two of them. Thank you, Feng Yinyang said respectfully. Mo Yushi smiled faintly and did not say anything. She knew that Yin Chuan had something to say. Yin Chuan wanted her to accompany him, which meant that Yin Chuan did not want to hide anything from her. It was best to listen from the side. Chapter 445. This is the golden flame tea collected by Yu Shi. Try it. Yin Chuan smiled. Feng Yinyang exclaimed, Prince Yin, you're so lucky. Mo Yushi blushed slightly. Meow. Meow was lying on Mo Yushi's shoulder, looking listless. Yes, I, Yin Chuan, am more lucky. Yin Chuan smiled. After saving his life in the Demon Wind Mountain Range and Yin Chuan's mysterious performance, Feng Yinyang had adjusted his attitude. At the very least, their positions were equal. Prince Yin, that day you said, Feng Yinyang said anxiously. Feng Yinyang, don't you feel awkward talking like that? Yin Chuan smiled. Feng Yinyang was silent for a while. Finally, he took a deep breath and gently lifted his hat. When the hat was lifted, a handsome face was revealed. However, his hair was silver. Prince Yin, that buried sky coffin is very important to me. Did you really get it? Feng Yinyang asked expectantly. Yes, it's with me. Yin Chuan took a sip of the tea and nodded. Phew, that's great. Can you give it to me? Feng Yinyang said excitedly. Anyone can see that the buried sky coffin is a great treasure. It might even be a fairy weapon. Why should I give it to you? Yin Chuan smiled. Feng Yinyang's expression changed. Yin Chuan continued to drink his tea unhurriedly. Fairy weapon? I can exchange it with a fairy weapon. I have a fairy weapon. Feng Yinyang said immediately. Fairy weapon? Mo Yushi's eyes lit up. She was surprised that Feng Yinyang had such a great treasure. Shaking his head, Yin Chuan smiled and said, Fairy weapon? Yin Chuan, don't care about it. Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Fairy weapon? That was a fairy weapon. Yin Chuan didn't care about it? Mo Yushi also looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Finally, a trace of admiration flashed in her eyes for Yin Chuan's boldness. Yin Chuan naturally liked fairy weapons. But exchanging a fairy weapon for the buried sky coffin? Perhaps some people would be blinded by greed. But how could Yin Chuan's experience be so shallow? Yin Chuan had already set his sights on the world. Yin Chuan believed that he would have a fairy weapon sooner or later, and he would have a lot of it. However, talents are hard to come by. If he could get Feng Yinyang, wouldn't he have the buried sky coffin, the fairy weapon, and Feng Yinyang at the same time? Prince Yin, what do you want? Feng Yinyang said in a low voice. I heard that Feng Shui masters are divided into Southern Sect and Northern Sect. Are you from Southern Sect? Yin Chuan asked. That's right. In Southern Sect, my status is equivalent to Mo Yushi's Saintus. Feng Yinyang nodded. Oh. Mo Yushi looked at Feng Yinyang in surprise. Mo Yushi's status was equivalent to that of a middle sect leader. However, Yin Chuan heard another layer of meaning from Feng Yinyang's words. Feng Yinyang was not willing to give up his current status. Sighing in his heart, Yin Chuan knew that he could not force it now. I can give you the buried sky coffin, but you have to promise me 3 things. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. As long as you don't violate my principles and don't betray the sect, Feng Yinyang will definitely fulfill the 3 conditions. Prince Yin, please tell me. Feng Yinyang said solemnly. Smiling, Yin Chuan said, Don't worry, I won't violate your principles. I can only think of one of the 3 conditions. As for the other 2, I'll tell you later. Feng Yinyang frowned and finally nodded. Please tell me. Yin Chuan flipped his hand and took out a large number of blueprints and a few letters. Take these letters to Carefree City and hand them to Lu Jin, Hua Guang, and Feng Tairan. They will lead the way for you and handle some trivial matters. After that, you will go to Yinjing and hand these letters to Yifeng. I want you to help me set up a feng shui array in Yinjing. Yin Chuan said, Set up an array? A feng shui array? That's simple? Feng Yinyang was surprised. It's that simple. Yin Chuan smiled. All right, what array? Feng Yinyang took a deep breath and said, "This is an array diagram. Let 100 dragon veins into Yin Jing and form 100 dragons pilgrimage. It's the supreme array." Yin Chuan said. Feng Yinyang took the blueprints. What a domineering feng shui array diagram. 100 dragons pilgrimage? Supreme array? Feng Yinyang exclaimed. Chapter 446. Feng Yinyang looked at the formation diagram that Yin Chuan handed over, his eyes constantly changing. It's not the style of the South sect, nor is it the style of the Northern sect. Prince Yin this. Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. You can understand it. Yin Chuan stared at Feng Yinyang. Although it's very different from what I learned, I've already digested yin and yang. I can understand it. There are many subtleties within it that have opened my eyes. Prince Yin, did you create this? It's just some formation diagrams that I came across by chance. Yin Chuan shook his head. Really? There are other formation diagrams? Feng Yinyang's eyes lit up. If there's a chance in the future, I'll look for it again. Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan and understood that Yin Chuan was rejecting him tactfully. He smiled bitterly and said, "All right, meow. Give a sky-burying coffin to Feng Yinyang." Yin Chuan said, "Meow." Meow immediately took out the small felt hat. Rumble. A huge coffin fell out of the small felt hat. Taking a deep breath, Feng Yinyang stood up and touched the sky-burying coffin. It's real. It's really the sky-burying coffin. Feng Yinyang exclaimed. If that's the case, then take it. Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Feng Yinyang turned to look at Yin Chuan, his eyes uncertain. Prince Yin, aren't you afraid that I'll run away with the sky-burying coffin? Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Wasn't this too casual? He didn't even sign the contract. How could he just give it away like that? It's just a coffin. If you really want it, just take it. As for the 3 conditions, I believe you will keep your promise. I won't be wrong about you. Yin Chuan smiled. Looking at Yin Chuan, Feng Yinyang felt a surge of gratitude. Prince Yin, rest assured. I, Feng Yinyang, am a man of my word. Feng Yinyang said solemnly. I believe you. Yin Chuan smiled. Prince Yin, don't you want to know why I want the heaven-burying coffin? Feng Yinyang asked. Why should I know? Yin Chuan smiled in a carefree manner. The more Yin Chuan acted like this, the more Feng Yinyang felt apologetic. Feng Yinyang bowed deeply to Yin Chuan, took a deep breath, and said, This heaven-burying coffin is very important to my southern sect. My southern sect will use it to set up a huge feng shui ceremony. Everything will be done in secret. Only a few people know about it, and they will collect all kinds of things from all over. I will be in charge of this huge coffin. Is that so? Feng shui ceremony? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Yes, it will definitely cause a stir in the south. If Prince Yin has time, you can come and watch the ceremony. Feng Yinyang said solemnly. Watch the ceremony? As long as you invite me, I will definitely be there. Yin Chuan nodded solemnly. I will inform you when the time comes. Feng Yinyang smiled. Yin Chuan nodded. After chatting with Feng Yinyang for a while, Feng Yinyang left with the heaven-burying coffin and the feng shui array. In the hall, only Yin Chuan, Mo Yushi, and Miao were left. Miao, why have you been so listless these days? This is not like you. Yin Chuan looked at Miao. Miao looked a little depressed. What's wrong? Yin Chuan asked again. Miao, Yin Chuan, am I very useless? Miao's eyes were suddenly filled with tears. What's wrong? Who said you're useless? Yin Chuan immediately hugged Miao to comfort her. Yes, Miao, what's wrong with you? Mo Yushi was also worried. She took out a top-grade spirit stone and stuffed it into Miao's arms. Normally, Miao would be very happy, but now, holding the spirit stone, she felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. Chapter 447. Miao, tell me what's wrong? Yin Chuan asked worriedly. Last time in the forest, I felt so useless. You were so badly injured, but I couldn't help you. You even asked people to protect me. Miao. Miao said sadly. With a smile, Yin Chuan touched Miao's head and said, So it's because of this. Don't be sad. Who said you didn't help me? Who said you were useless? Did I? I saw so many people beating you, but I could only watch. Boo-hoo, Meow said sadly. Ha ha ha. You didn't just watch. You helped me a lot. You see, if it wasn't for your little felt hat, how could I get the sky burying coffin? How could I negotiate with Feng Yinyang? How could there be so many arrangements? You helped me a lot. Yin Chuan comforted. Really? But Meow was still a little depressed. Your strength? You're still young. Besides, who's more powerful than you? When you broke through, the heavenly tribulation didn't even look for you. How abnormal is this ability? You'll definitely be more powerful in the future. Yin Chuan comforted. The heavenly tribulation didn't look for Meow? Mou, she asked doubtfully. Yes, when Meow reached the essence realm from the strength realm, she didn't go through the heavenly tribulation. Yin Chuan nodded. Ah, how is that possible? Mou, she said in surprise. Meow? Seems like it. Meow recalled and suddenly said in surprise. If you don't go through the heavenly tribulation and your cultivation keeps rising, will you be very powerful in the future? Yin Chuan asked. Well, seems like it. Meow suddenly had a trace of confidence. Besides, your bloodline is definitely very noble in the tiger tribe. In the future, thousands of tigers will have to listen to you. At that time, I'll be basking in your glory. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Meow, seems like it. I can take in many tiger brothers and let them help you. Meow said excitedly. That won't do. What are you sad about? Yin Chuan laughed. That's right. Meow meow, I have the tiger clan scroll. I can reward a lot of tigers. I can do it. Meow. Meow's mood instantly brightened. Scroll of the tiger clan? Yin Chuan didn't ask, but he could guess. Meow was in a good mood, and so was Yin Chuan. Meow, daily. Yin Chuan, I'm going out to play. I won't disturb you, and Sister Mo Meow. Meow happily skipped out of the hall. He watched as Meow left. Mou Shi and Yin Chuan both smiled knowingly. Mou Shi blushed. Is the poison gone? Yin Chuan asked. Yes, it's all gone. Thank you. Mou Shi said softly. Do we still need to thank you? Yin Chuan smiled. Mou Shi felt as if she had drunk ice water in summer. Then I won't thank you. Mou Shi smiled sweetly. Yin Chuan's eyes softened as he looked at Mou Shi. All right, Poisoner's great development diagram is with me. I heard it's the most precious treasure of the northern sect. Mou Shi took out the great development diagram that Poisoner had used to set up the formation. Then I'll keep it. Yin Chuan didn't argue. Mou Shi smiled. Last time, you said you wanted to go to Jilu Academy. For what? You want to participate in the Heavenly Bestowment Conference and compete for the Tian Su in the merit pool? Are you planning to start a sect? Mou Shi asked curiously. Yin Chuan shook his head and said, the Heavenly Bestowment Conference isn't just about the Tian Su. There's also the deification strategy. I want to compete for the deification strategy. Ah, deification strategy? What's the use of that? You're not planning to start an academy, are you? Mou Shi said in surprise. Chapter 448. Haha, tell me how to compete for the investiture of the gods. Yin Chuan laughed. All right, the Jilu Academy holds a Heavens Bestowment Conference every 100 years. They pray to the heavens and ask for merit, and the heavens will bestow upon them Tian Su and investiture of the gods. The Tian Su is used to control the pond of merit, and the investiture of the gods is used to control the sea of fortune. And the academy needs the investiture of the gods to support the sea of fortune. Mou Shi explained. Yin Chuan nodded. There are countless sects in the world with pond of merit, but only the 4 great academies have the sea of fortune. Fortune is extremely difficult to collect. The 4 great academies have won the world's support and accumulated boundless fortune because they helped the sects in the world ask for merit and gave them the Tian Su. However, once their fortune has increased to the level of a mid-level sect, it's very difficult to go any further. They can only be mid-level sections. Although they can't reach the level of a high-level sect, they're still respected by the world. After all, countless sects in the world hope to obtain the Tian Su from the academy. Mou Shi explained. Only the 4 great academies collect fortune. Yin Chuan asked. She smiled. Collecting fortune is too difficult. In the past, there were people who obtained the investiture of the gods and opened up new academies. However, fortune was lost faster than it was gained. In less than 100 years, the investiture of the gods would disappear without the nourishment of fortune. Open up academies to collect fortune? Haha, what a joke. Yin Chuan shook his head. Joke? Isn't fortune accumulated by the academy? She asked curiously. Of course not. Just watch and see how I collect fortune from the world. Yin Chuan smiled. But the investiture of the gods is also very difficult to obtain. She said after some thought. Oh, the previous investiture of the gods has mostly been taken by the Julu Academy. This is because the investiture of the gods will contain some fortune. The Julu Academy will use this fortune to fill their sea of fortune. If you want the investiture of the gods, you'll have to fight. She said after some thought. Fight? How? Just like heavenly policy, a competition between sects? Yin Chuan asked curiously. No, it's a battle of wits with the great scholars of Julu Institute. Only after winning can we snatch the god investiture strategy from them. She said. Investiture of the investiture of the gods? The Julu Academy won't reject anyone who wants the investiture of the gods, but you must win. However, it's too difficult. The Julu Academy is the place with the greatest literary style in the world. It won't be easy to win against the investiture of the gods. She said worriedly. Let's fight. I want to see how great the literary style of the Julu Academy is. Yin Chuan smiled. You really want to fight for the investiture of the gods? She asked in surprise. I'm determined to get it. Yin Chuan nodded affirmatively. But, she was still worried. No buts. I'm going to the Julu Academy this time for this. Investiture of the gods? I'm looking forward to it too. Yin Chuan said with a smile. She thought for a while and finally nodded. Then I'll convince Mr. Monroe to help you. Mr. Monroe? Isn't he the young master of the Julu Academy? Yin Chuan asked in confusion. Mr. Monroe has already been kicked out of the Julu Academy and joined the Dezhou Sacred Ground. Naturally, he doesn't represent the Julu Academy. Don't worry, leave this to me. She nodded affirmatively. All right, it's best if we leave as soon as possible. Once we're there, I'll be able to understand the situation. That, she frowned. What's wrong? Is it okay if I arrive later? You want to refine the Dark Phoenix? Yin Chuan looked at the purple crystal between She's eyebrows. Yes. It might take a year or two. There are too many things inside the Dark Phoenix. I'll let Qing Long, Bai Long, Rose Finch, and Xuanwu escort you there. I'll definitely be there before the Heavenly Bestowment Conference. I guarantee that Mr. Monroe will be there too. She said affirmatively. Looking at Yin Chuan shook his head and said, Qing Long and Bai Long can follow me. Let Rose Finch and Xuanwu stay behind to protect you. They'll protect you. Okay. Chapter 449. Book 3. Establishing a Country Chapter 1. Outside Jiulu City, by D. Tian under the blue sky, a green light pierced through the clouds. It was a small green boat. The small boat flew through the sky at high speed. Qing Long stood at the bow of the boat and looked at the mountains in the distance. Meow. Yin Chuan carried little Meow out of the boat's cabin. Meow held a spirit stone in its hand and was happily gnawing on it. Young master, Qing Long said respectfully. Are we almost there? Yin Chuan smiled. It's been 3 months. We're finally there. Qing Long nodded. 3 months? Bai Long should have received phone by now. Yin Chuan took a deep breath. Young master, are you really going to compete for the God Bestowment strategy? Qing Long frowned. What? Yin Chuan smiled. The God Bestowment strategy requires you to fight against a group of scholars. Jiulu Academy has so many great scholars. With just young master and Bai Long subordinate, can you win? Qing Long said worriedly. Meow, what are you afraid of? They're just a group of scholars. Meow said nonchalantly. Qing Long smiled bitterly. Scholars? This was not a competition of martial strength. It was a competition of the things of scholars. Don't worry, I have my own plans. Yin Chuan smiled. Yes. Qinglong did not say anything else. Jiulu Academy is located in Jiulu mountain range. It's surrounded by a huge city where countless cultivators gather. It's called Jiulu City. Qinglong said. Jiulu City? Yin Chuan pondered. Jiulu Academy's divine guardian beast is from the deer clan. Once you enter this area, no one is allowed to hurt the deer. This is the rule of Jiulu Academy. Qinglong said. Divine guardian beast? Deer? Are there only deer? No, there are some other vassal races, but in the end, the deer race has the highest status. Qinglong explained. I understand. Yin Chuan nodded. Boom, boom, boom. While the boat was flying towards Jiulu City, a white light suddenly shot into the sky from afar. Stop. Yin Chuan's expression changed. Qinglong quickly controlled the boat to slow down. Nature energy? Yin Chuan's expression changed. In the distant forest, although there were many clouds and mist covering it, the nature energy still soared into the sky. There, young master, I've accompanied the saintess to pass by this place before. It's a tiger tribe, one of the Jiulu Academy's vassals. Qinglong explained. Tiger clan? Clan? Yin Chuan's eyes lit up. The tiger clan was not a social animal. A ferocious tiger occupied an area. Even if it was a ferocious tiger that did not cultivate, it still had this habit. And yet, there was actually a clan here. Tribe? This proved that there was a tiger civilization here. A civilization that valued bloodlines. Meow, meow, let's go take a look. Meow said excitedly. Let's go. Yin Chuan nodded. The boat quickly flew towards a nature energy. Meow, do you remember what I told you before? Don't reveal your identity. Yin Chuan said softly. Meow, meow. Meow nodded immediately. Soon, the two humans and one cat arrived in front of them. When they got closer, they realized that there were already thousands of cultivators surrounding the area. They were all spectators. All of them were looking at the three groups, confronting each other in the center of the field. In the west, thousands of ferocious tigers roared. At the front of the group of tigers stood three men. The leader was a middle-aged man in a white robe. His expression was indifferent, but there was a hidden arrogance in his eyes. Behind him stood two old men, one red and one yellow. Why are there three tiger beasts? Qinglong raised his eyebrows. Chapter 450. You know him? Yin Chuan asked. The old man in yellow behind the white-robed tiger is the original Tiger King, Zhuozhou. The old man in red is his younger brother, Zhuoqianqiu. They used to lead the tigers here, but for some reason, they're standing behind the middle-aged man in white right now. I've never seen that person before. Qinglong frowned. This was only a group of tigers from the west. Yin Chuan actually knew the group from the north. The leader was actually Spider King. Back when Yao Tianshang fought with Prince Guyu, he destroyed an entire city with his Guqin. The monster playing the Guqin was Spider King. Behind Spider King stood 10 other figures. Yin Chuan had seen most of them before, because some of them were the monsters that Yao Tianshang had subdued in the demonic Wind Mountain range. Spider King stared coldly at the last group in the south. The last group was all wearing scholarly robes. They glared at Spider King. The leader was Meng Rongrong, who had been driven away by Yin Chuan. In Yanjin, Meng Rongrong invited Yifeng to join the Jiulu Academy, but was stopped by Yin Chuan. The daughter of the dean of the Jiulu Academy, Mr. Monroe's sister, Meng Rongrong. Zhuozhou, tell her, did you agree to let all the tigers follow me to the north and join my master? Spider King shouted. Zhuozhou, the Jiulu Academy has been good to you all these years. Back when the tigers were attacked by hundreds of sects, the Jiulu Academy protected the tigers here. Why? Are you going to betray us now? Meng Rongrong scolded. The yellow-robed old man looked bitter. Little Meng, how dare you talk about betrayal? How many things have the tigers done for you all these years? How many tigers have died? Where even now? Spider King shouted. Zhuozhou, tell me what happened. Did they force you? Meng Rongrong shouted. Force? What a joke. My lord is a man of great talent and strategy. Why would he use force? Zhuo tell them what happened. King Spider shouted. The yellow robes Zhuo smiled bitterly. I was the one who agreed. Did you hear that? King Spider said proudly. But, Zhuo suddenly shouted. Everyone looked at Zhuo. Just yesterday, I'm no longer the Tiger King. A new Tiger King has been born. It's this person by Diqian. He's our new king. Zhuo immediately shook his head. By Diqian, Wang Zhu frowned as he looked at the white-robed man. By Diqian, Meng Rongrong also looked at the white-robed man. The white-robed man smiled faintly and looked at the two sides. The two of you. Bai Diqian was about to speak. Suddenly, Bai Diqian's eyes narrowed. He raised his head and looked into the distance, his expression extremely solemn. Bai Diqian's gaze was fixed on Qin Long's boat in midair. He went straight for Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan's face darkened. Meow. Meow immediately glared. Bai Diqian squinted his eyes and stared at Meow. You found out? Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a serious look. Yin Chuan, who was carrying Meow, was the first to feel Bai Diqian's will. It was an extremely arrogant will. Just one look was enough to make Yin Chuan put up his guard. The fierceness of this gaze was actually not much different from his previous lives. Bai Diqian? Meow. That person is staring at me. It's so scary. Meow leaned against Yin Chuan. When Bai Diqian saw Meow, he frowned deeply. His eyes were filled with uncertainty, curiosity, confusion, and shock. Chapter 451. How is this possible? Bai Diqian muttered in surprise. King, what's wrong? Zhuo asked curiously. Zhuo and Zhuo were both emptiness realm experts, but they were not as sensitive as Bai Diqian. They could not sense Meow's abnormality. Bai Diqian ignored Meng Rongrong and King Spider and stared into the distance. Everyone immediately turned their heads. Many cultivators' gazes gathered on the small boat, and Yin Chuan's boat became the center of attention. Brother Yin. A surprise shout came from the Jiulu Academy crowd. A plump cultivator walked out from a group of cultivators dressed in scholarly robes. His face was filled with surprise, as though he was an old friend. Dongfang Zhengpai. Yin Chuan was slightly surprised. Yin Chuan, Meng Rongrong's face darkened. The King Spider on the other side also frowned slightly. Brother Yin, come here, come here. Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. Let's go. Yin Chuan said to Qin Long, yes. Swish. The small boat weaved through the crowd of cultivators and quickly headed towards the Jiulu Academy crowd. Phew. Qin Long kept the small boat and landed in front of a group of scholarly cultivators with Yin Chuan. Brother Yin, you made me look for you. I searched the demonic Wind Mountain range for more than a year, but I could not find this kitten. I went to Carefree City to look for you, but you were gone again. Tell me, where did you find this kitten? Dongfang Zhengpai asked anxiously. Kitten, your sister. I'm not a cat. Meow glared at Dongfang Zhengpai. Enough. Yin Chuan stopped Meow from scolding. At the side, Meng Rongrong looked at Yin Chuan with a gloomy expression. Meng Rongrong snorted at Yin Chuan and ignored him. Bai Diqian kept staring at Meow. His brows never relaxed. Bai Diqian, Zhuo must have already told you about my lord. My lord is a man of great talent and strategy. You should know that as long as the Tiger Clan defers to him, I guarantee that no one will dare to bully your Tiger Clan. Wang Zhu shouted. Bai Diqian, no one has ever betrayed the Jiulu Academy. I hope that you tigers aren't the first. Meng Rongrong said in a deep voice. Bai Diqian shifted his gaze away from Meow and looked at both sides. Finally, he took a deep breath and said, the Jiulu Academy extended a helping hand during the tiger race's calamity. Bai Diqian will always remember that. However, the tiger race has its own path. The Jiulu Academy cannot give me what I want. You can't give it? Why couldn't he give it to her? Bai Diqian, explain yourself. Meng Rongrong said in a low voice. Ha. Little ass Meng, a fine bird, chooses a tree to nest in. Bai Diqian is an understanding person. Although the Jiulu Academy is strong, it is still a middle-tier sect. Although there are few tigers, you can only be famous under my lord. Wang Zhu laughed loudly. Bai Tian turned to look at Wang Zhu and revealed a faint smile. However, his eyes flashed with disdain and arrogance. Be willing to be under others? Bai Tian did not have such thoughts. A fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. With just the two of you? Meng Rongrong immediately shifted her anger to Wang Zhu. Wang Zhu laughed coldly and said, I heard that the Jiulu Academy's literary style is at its peak. They're the best in the four arts. I am not talented, but I only love the zither. Does your Jiulu Academy dare to fight me? Fight the zither? Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed strange expressions. Young master, what is Wang Zhu trying to do? Qing Long frowned and asked. Wang Zhu's zither skills are outstanding. He wants to defeat the people from the Jiulu Academy and indirectly boost Yao Tianshang's reputation. He wants to convince Bai Tian to surrender. Yin Chuan explained. Kik, this Wang Zhu is really courting death. He doesn't even know who he is facing. Dongfang Zhengpai suddenly revealed a smug smile. Oh, Yin Chuan looked at Dongfang Zhengpai. As far as I know, in the Jiulu Academy, no one can surpass little lass Meng in the way of the zither. Dongfang Zhengpai whispered. Chapter 452. Ding 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 ding. Wang Zhu plucked the zither strings, and the sound of the zither seemed to enter the hearts of all the Xiozha. The wind that had been blowing in the surroundings suddenly stopped. Zither silence. Meng Rongrong said in a deep voice. While speaking, Meng Rongrong also took out a red guqin. The head of the guqin seemed to be carved with a phoenix head. Meng Rongrong sat down gently and placed the zither on her knees. With a wave of his hand, clink, 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 clink. With just a casual pluck, a strong gust of wind suddenly blew from Meng Rongrong's location. The wind was extremely strong and looked like a surging river. As Meng Rongrong plucked the guqin, the wind surged forward. The king spider's pupils suddenly shrank. An expert, King Spider exclaimed. The strings in King Spider's hand were also quickly plucked. Rumble! In front of Spider King, a gust of wind suddenly appeared. It was just like the effect of Meng Rongrong's poke. The gust of wind was extremely thick. With a wave of Spider King's hand, it was like a surging river, rolling forward. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong and Spider King kept plucking the zither strings, their eyes filled with solemnity. The two powerful storms were like the scourge of the end of the world. Wherever they passed, rocks were sent flying. Even the small hills in the middle were swept up by the storms. Two great zither experts were in a showdown. The main flow of the battle was like the surging of a great river, surging forward. Some of the aftershocks created 10 tornadoes that swept in all directions. The thousands of spectating Xiozha were blown around by the strong wind and retreated backwards again and again. Even though he was standing behind Meng Rongrong, he could still feel the fierce wind. Guqin? Yin Chuan looked at Meng Rongrong in surprise. What a strong guqin. Meow. What? What did you say? Dongfeng Zhengpai shouted. The wind was too strong, and the sound of the wind was too loud. Yin Chuan's voice could not be heard clearly. Yin Chuan, let's retreat, retreat. Dongfeng Zhengpai roared. Only then could his voice be heard. Yin Chuan shook his head. Then I'm going. Dongfeng Ho shouted and was the first to run away. Several Confucian cultivators looked at him with disdain. This was a battle between the Jiulu Academy and the other academies. They were challenging the other academies. As a great scholar of the Jiulu Academy, if they didn't ask you to fight, why would you run away? Yin Chuan looked at the center of the arena. The two great river-like storms crashed into each other. Although the two storms were powerful, they were not fast. In the past, Yin Chuan only saw layers upon layers of sound waves in Liangjing. However, this was a pure sound river. Neither of the two powerful martial artists held back, and the rolling sound river collided with each other. Before the two sound rivers came into contact with each other, a vortex of vacuum was formed between them. It was like a wind tunnel that was spinning violently. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong's hands moved faster and faster. The two sound rivers finally collided. Boom! A large number of mountains and rivers exploded under the sound river. The martial artists who were hiding on the side retreated again and again. Ah! Oh my God! The martial artists who were watching were blown away. The power of the sound river was extremely majestic, and at the center of the collision of the two sound rivers, suddenly, a huge vortex appeared. Rumble. The vortex rotated very slowly, but it carried the same powerful force from the two sides. Sound splitting the void? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Meow. Meow grabbed Yin Chuan's shoulder and struggled. Phew! Meow turned into Yin Chuan's arms and hid in his arms, revealing a pair of big eyes to secretly watch this magnificent scene. Chapter 453. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong plucked the strings violently. In the center of the sound river, a huge whirlpool was slowly pushing towards the Spider King. Her speed was not fast, but it was clear that Meng Rongrong had the upper hand at the moment. On the opposite side, the Spider King looked terrible. Little Meng, your Guqin Dao has improved so fast. Even your father isn't as strong as you. The Spider King said. Meng Rongrong kept plucking the strings and ignored it. Rumble. The huge whirlpool pushed towards the Spider King bit by bit. The Spider King's defeat was obvious, and it seemed to be struggling bitterly. Meng Rongrong's forehead was sweating profusely. She was obviously struggling. How terrifying. Even if I enter this sound river, I might be killed quickly. Qing Long exclaimed. Sweat drenched Meng Rongrong's cheeks, and similarly, it also wet the Spider King's cheeks. The Spider King's eyes flashed viciously as it gritted its teeth. Little Meng, for the sake of the Lord's great cause, I'm sorry. The Spider King's eyes were cold. 8 black lights followed the huge sound river and rolled towards the opposite side. The black lights were very secretive. They were like thin needles, shuttling through the sound river and sinking quickly into the rolling sound river, making it impossible for people to detect them. Rumble. The huge whirlpool in the center continued to push towards the Spider King. Meng Rongrong took advantage of the situation and plucked the strings faster and faster. It was as if there was an extra pair of hands on the strings, and 4 hands were playing the strings nonstop. So fast, Yin Chuan exclaimed. It wasn't that there was an extra pair of hands, but that the speed was so fast that it created a visual difference. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong seemed to have not vented for a long time, and for a moment, she seemed to have forgotten her feelings. She only knew how to increase the sound technique and the power of the sound river. She didn't notice that 8 black lights were lurking not far away. Under the roaring sound river, it was impossible to notice this subtle difference. Meng Rongrong didn't notice it, nor did the group of Confucian cultivators. Only Yin Chuan suddenly narrowed his eyes. It wasn't Yin Chuan who discovered it, but the warning from poison ivy on Yin Chuan's left wrist. The poison ivy emitted an intense green light. Poison? Furthermore, it was highly toxic. Where's the poison? Yin Chuan asked in surprise. Yin Chuan looked around and then looked at Meng Rongrong. He did not notice anything. Point out, Yin Chuan shouted. Swish! A thin vine whip suddenly emerged from Poison Vine's birthmark. The vine whip was pointed at the sound river in front of Meng Rongrong. Yin Chuan took a closer look and suddenly saw a black light. The black light flashed into the sound river and disappeared in the blink of an eye. King Spider? Poison? Yin Chuan looked in surprise at the king spider in the distance, whose eyes remained calm. Oh no! The place where poison ivy was pointing was getting closer and closer to Meng Rongrong. Save her? Not save her. Seeing Meng Rongrong playing the Guqin with all her might, Yin Chuan hesitated for a moment. But soon, Yin Chuan's eyes were filled with determination. Not to mention that he had to compete for the God's investiture strategy in Jilu City. He could not watch Mr. Monroe's sister die. The 8 black lights were getting closer and closer to Meng Rongrong. They were about to reach Meng Rongrong. Go! Yin Chuan took a step forward and flung poison ivy in his hand. Swish! Poison ivy quickly emerged and wrapped around Meng Rongrong's body. Yinchuan pulled fiercely. "What are you doing?" The surrounding Confucian cultivators suddenly exclaimed. Meng Rongrong's Guqin Dao suppressed the other party. The Confucian cultivators were waiting to celebrate when a vine whip suddenly wrapped around Meng Rongrong. Chapter 454. Bastard, what are you doing? Who are you? Bastard. The Confucian cultivators were furious. Meng Rongrong's hands paused as she was entangled by the vine whip. She seemed to be stunned by the vine whip. "Ah!" Meng Rongrong screamed. However, as she screamed, Meng Rongrong saw clearly that 8 black lights were rapidly shooting towards her original position. Swish! 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 The 8 beams of black light suddenly stabbed the vine whip. This is... Meng Rongrong immediately thought of a possibility. However, Meng Rongrong being pulled away was no longer a matter of poison needles. Meng Rongrong was carrying a massive sound river. When the zither was pulled away, the sound river lost control and suddenly pulled Meng Rongrong. Boom! Meng Rongrong fell into the sound river. The poison vines wrapped around Meng Rongrong pulled Yinchuan into the sound river as well. "Ah, young master!" Qing Long immediately exclaimed. "First young mistress!" The Confucian cultivators exclaimed. Boom! The sound river seemed like a real river, surging past. The two were immediately swept away by the sound river, rushing towards the center of the whirlpool. Ah! In the blink of an eye, the two arrived at the center of the sound river. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two were pulled into the center of the whirlpool. "Ah! First young mistress!" The Confucian cultivators exclaimed. Qinglong also felt anxious. On the other side, Spider King suddenly stopped playing his zither. He looked at this scene in shock. On the other side, Tiger King by Detian frowned slightly as he stared at the scene. Miao was also pulled into the sound river whirlpool. The countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed shocked expressions. The Jiulu Academy's first young mistress was swept away with a man. The sound river was slowly becoming smaller, but it was only slowly. It was unknown how long it would take for it to completely disappear. As for Yin Chuan and Meng Rongrong, who were caught in the storm, they were surrounded by sonic booms and raging winds. Meng Rongrong raised a wall of air, but it was shattered by the sonic boom in the blink of an eye. Even Qing Long, who was in the emptiness realm, would be shattered by the sonic boom, let alone the two of them who had yet to reach the emptiness realm. The more Meng Rongrong struggled, the stronger the force became. His face was filled with panic. "Don't struggle. You won't be able to overcome the sound waves. Just go with the flow and let yourself adapt to the frequency." Yin Chuan shouted at Meng Rongrong. When Meng Rongrong heard this, she calmed down a lot and immediately stopped resisting. Now that the two of them had let go of their resistance, the sound waves were no longer impacting them, but the raging winds were still directly affecting their bodies. Bang! Bang! The two people's clothes were instantly torn apart by the raging winds. In the blink of an eye, the two people and the cat were completely naked. Only Miao was still biting on the felt hat, unwilling to let go. "Ah!" Meng Rongrong covered her sensitive parts and screamed in shock. Although the people outside could not see what was happening in the whirlpool, the two people inside the whirlpool could see everything clearly. In an instant, the two of them were completely naked. In the outside world, the people of the Jiulu Academy were extremely anxious. The young mistress was gone in the blink of an eye. "Ah, young mistress' clothes." A servant girl suddenly soared into the sky and caught a piece of what looked like Meng Rongrong's torn clothes. "Young master's clothes." Qing Long soared into the sky and caught some pieces of Yin Chuan's clothes. Whirlpool space. A man and a woman? Their clothes were all torn? The thousands of cultivators in the surroundings immediately thought of a charming scene. "Ah, young mistress' clothes, they're all torn." Two servant girls quickly ran over and collected Meng Rongrong's torn clothes. Dongfang Zhengpai had unknowingly appeared beside Qing Long. Yin Chuan actually dared to do such a thing in broad daylight. Dongfang Zhengpai had a look of deep hatred on his face. It shouldn't be what you're thinking. Qing Long immediately defended Yin Chuan. He's really a role model for our generation. Dongfang Zhengpai's expression changed and became incomparably wretched. Qing Long, who was standing at the side, opened his mouth. He originally wanted to defend Yin Chuan, but he suddenly didn't know what to say. Chapter 455. King Spider also stopped plucking the zither, and the vast Sound River gradually became smaller. The Sound River became smaller, but it did not disappear quickly. The whirlpool in the center was still spinning, and the interior could not be seen clearly. After Yin Chuan and Meng Rongrong were sucked in, the group of Confucian cultivators quickly jumped up. Disperse the Sound River. Save young mistress. A Confucian cultivator shouted. Okay. The group of Confucian cultivators shouted. Stop. Dongfang Zhengpai suddenly shouted. N. The Confucian cultivators looked at Dongfang Zhengji. No one moves. Dongfang Zhengji shook his head. Uncle Master, why? Uncle Master, young mistress is in danger now. The Confucian cultivators shouted. It's dangerous to blindly save them. They might have already adapted to the sound. If you act recklessly, the Sound River will become chaotic, and they will die faster. Dongfang Zhengji shouted. The Confucian cultivators raised their eyebrows. Uncle Master is right. I remember now. Teacher said this before, too. Don't move. Retreat. Most of the Confucian cultivators had come into contact with the zither before, so they understood quickly. Retreat. Not only did they retreat, but they also asked the surrounding cultivators to retreat far away to prevent any accidents. Rumble. The Sound River gradually became smaller, and everyone waited patiently. At this moment, King Spider did not attack again. He just watched coldly. Previously, it was just a bet. If he added insult to injury now, he would have an irreconcilable grudge with the Julu Academy. Bai Ditian also waited patiently, his eyes flashing with doubt. In the whirlpool, Meng Rongrong covered her sensitive parts and screamed. Yin Chuan wrapped a vine whip around Meng Rongrong, preventing her from flying out. However, Yin Chuan was also naked like Meng Rongrong. He held Miao in one hand and Meng Rongrong in the other. Vine whip cage. Yin Chuan shouted. Swish! The vine whips suddenly expanded, growing longer and longer. In the blink of an eye, they weaved into a huge cage, enclosing the two people and the cat. The cages became denser and denser, although they were swaying in the wind. As the number of cages increased, a sphere was formed in the blink of an eye, isolating them from the outside world. A huge vine whip sphere wrapped around the two of them. Meow! While Gale was blocked by the vine whip, Meow Meow quickly poured out a large number of luminous pearls from its felt hat. For a moment, the vine whip ball became incomparably bright. The two naked people immediately faced each other openly. Hooligan! Meng Rongrong immediately covered her body and squatted down. Her eyes were full of grievance and anger. Meow! Yin Chuan is a big hooligan. Meow added insult to injury. Meow! Yin Chuan was speechless. Take out 2 sets of clothes and give her one. Yin Chuan said. Meow! Meow did as she was told and threw a set of clothes over. Meng Rongrong looked at the clothes and quickly put them on. When she put them on, it was inevitable that her body would be exposed. Fortunately, Yin Chuan did not take advantage of her and put on his own clothes. Rustle, rustle. Soon, the two of them put on their clothes. Meow! Yin Chuan's clothes are too big for you. Why don't you take them off? I'll find another one for you. Meow shouted to Meng Rongrong. No! Meng Rongrong exclaimed. It was not easy to put on the clothes. How could she take them off? Meng Rongrong quickly tightened her clothes. Miss Meng, you saw it too. The situation was urgent, and the Spider King poisoned you. So, I had no choice but to pull you away. Yin Chuan explained. Meng Rongrong stared at Yin Chuan, her eyes full of shame and anger. Was it this person in front of her who saw her pure body? Chapter 456. Walking over, Meng Rongrong slapped Yin Chuan's face with shame and anger. Bang! Her hand was suddenly caught by Yin Chuan in midair. It didn't work. You. Meng Rongrong was even more ashamed and angry. Miss Meng, it's not that I, Yin Chuan, am stingy. It was just an accident. If you have any complaints, I don't mind. I won't argue with you in other ways. But for a man, two things about the body are intolerable. One is kneeling down, and the other is slapping the face. Yin Chuan shook his head and said in a deep voice. With that, Yin Chuan moved Meng Rongrong's hand away. The sound waves here were vast, and neither of them used their magical power. She wanted to slap him to vent the anger in her chest, but it didn't work. You bastard! Meng Rongrong roared. With a roar, Meng Rongrong's tears unconsciously came out. In her life, when had she ever suffered such a big grievance? Looking at Yin Chuan, Meng Rongrong's eyes were full of resentment. Meow, you are unreasonable. Yin Chuan looked at you. And didn't you also see Yin Chuan's naked body? You didn't lose anything. Meow suddenly shouted. Huh? Meng Rongrong looked at Meow. Didn't lose anything? Hearing Meow's scolding, Meng Rongrong felt even more wronged. Meow, besides, Yin Chuan even gave you clothes to wear. You are not made of top-grade spirit stones. You won't lose a piece of meat if he looked at you. Meow said disdainfully. Meow's logic made Meng Rongrong suddenly have an impulse to hit the wall. His previous grievances were mostly dissipated by this impulse. That's enough, Meow. Yin Chuan stopped Meow. That's true, Meow said. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Meng Rongrong wiped her tears and turned her head away, ignoring Yin Chuan. Rumble. 2 hours later, the Sound River finally disappeared. The huge whirlpool in the center of the whirlpool also slowly dissipated. When the whirlpool dissipated, a 10-meter-big green ball was revealed, a sphere woven from green vines. Countless Xiozha craned their necks and stared at the sphere. Young miss, the scholarly cultivators called out. Swish! Poison ivy retracted as vines, and the green vine sphere rapidly thinned, gradually revealing the two figures. Look! Meng Rongrong is wearing men's clothes. Ah, it's true. It's that man's clothes. What have they been doing inside for more than 2 hours? Don't tell me that Meng Rongrong's clothes that flew out were torn by that man. That man molested Meng Rongrong? You beast! Meng Rongrong. She's my Tao companion in my dreams. Yours? No. In Jilu City, Meng Rongrong is the dream companion of countless Xiozha. Kill him. Bastard, kill him. Some hot-blooded Xiozha immediately shouted in anger. Swish! Poison ivy was completely retracted into his sleeve. Young miss, I have collected your clothes and Chinquan bag. A maid came forward and said. Meng Rongrong turned her head and looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan, I hate you. Meng Rongrong said angrily. Meow. Meow gave tit for tat. Yin Chuan rubbed his nose and did not refute. Let's go. Meng Rongrong shouted. As she spoke, she took the two maids and flew towards Jilu City. The scholarly cultivators looked at Yin Chuan hatefully and followed Meng Rongrong. Qinglong, did you hear that? Just now, Meng Rongrong said that she hated Yin Chuan. Dongfang Zhengpai said with anticipation. I heard it. Qinglong nodded, not understanding what was going on. Wow, it's true. Brother Yin, you really did everything? Dongfang Zhengpai immediately shouted with excitement. Chapter 457. Dongfang Zhengpai's shout attracted the angry shouts of Meng Rongrong's admirers. Yin Chuan? Molest Meng Rongrong. Kill him. Bastard. Kill him. A group of cultivators charged forward angrily. Stop. What are you doing? He is a guest of the Jilu Academy. Who dares to touch him? Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. As expected, the status of a great scholar of the Jilu Academy was very effective. The cultivators who were about to charge forward immediately stopped in their tracks. Brother Yin, let's go. Dongfang Zhengpai said. Yin Chuan nodded. Qinglong, Yin Chuan, and Meow followed Dongfang Zhengpai and chased after the scholars of the Jilu Academy. Despicable. Shameless. In an instant, many people slandered Yin Chuan. Similarly, after today's incident, Yin Chuan's name would definitely spread throughout Jilu City. Before Yin Chuan left, he glanced at Bai Ditian, who had been standing with his hands behind his back. Bai Ditian also looked at Yin Chuan, but more at Miao, who was on Yin Chuan's shoulder. Upper Meridian Tiger Tribe? How is that possible? Bai Ditian frowned as he watched the group leave. All right, Bai Ditian. The people of the Jilu Academy have left. You have nothing to worry about now. Follow me back to meet the Lord. King Spider laughed. Bai Ditian turned to look at King Spider. Wuzhou, send the guests off, Bai Ditian said indifferently. As he spoke, Bai Ditian turned and walked back. Not far behind, there was a large hall. Bai Ditian walked back to it. Yes. Zhuo Wuzhou nodded. King Spider, please. Zhuo Wuzhou looked at King Spider. What? Zhuo Wuzhou, what do you mean? King Spider said coldly. I don't mean anything. Bai Ditian is our new king. His words represent our entire tribe. Zhuo Wuzhou shook his head. You, King Spider said coldly. Zhuo Wuzhou made a gesture of sending off the guest. Bastard. The demons behind King Spider were enraged. Spider King waved his hand and stopped the great demons. Let's go. Spider King shook his head. My lord. All the dire monsters cried out in surprise. Let's go. Wang Zhu shouted coldly. As he spoke, he took the lead to fly up. Oomph. The group of great demons snorted coldly. The great demons left in the blink of an eye, flying in the air. My lord, how are we going to explain this to the Lord when we return? A great demon asked with an ugly expression. Isn't it time to go back, Bai Ditian? I will convince him. Let's find a place to stay first. Spider King said solemnly. Yes. The great demons nodded. The two competing factions had left, and the Xiozha that had been watching also left. In the blink of an eye, only the Tiger Tribe was left. Yin Chuan and his group. Brother Yin, what happened to you guys just now? Dongfang Zhengpai asked with a wretched expression. Nothing happened. Yin Chuan shook his head. Miao, I know. Miao said proudly. Oh, then Miao, tell me about it. Dongfang Zhengpai said excitedly. I want to eat a supreme grade spirit stone. Miao stretched out its little paw. Okay. Dongfang Zhengpai quickly took out a supreme grade spirit stone. Miao. Miao cried out in satisfaction. What happened? Dongfang Zhengpai asked. At that time, both of their clothes were naked. Then, Yin Chuan touched Meng Rongrong. Miao immediately cried out. Oh! Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. Miao, don't talk nonsense. When did he touch her? Yin Chuan immediately frowned. You didn't? You grabbed Meng Rongrong's hand. Miao cried out. That was to stop her. Yin Chuan said. Stopping Meng Rongrong's slap didn't sound good. Yin Chuan changed the word slap to action. What? Meng Rongrong took the initiative? Dongfang Zhengpai immediately cried out in shock. Miao, of course. Meng Rongrong kept calling Yin Chuan a hooligan. Miao said, Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yin Chuan with reverence. What nonsense. Yin Chuan had a headache. Chapter 458. Yin Chuan and his group suddenly stopped and looked at a huge city in front of them. The city was built around a mountain range and stretched as far as the eye could see. There were many floating islands in the city, making it look like a fairyland. The mountain range that was surrounded by the floating islands shone with boundless righteousness, making it look solemn and dignified. In the sky, there was a huge golden cloud that covered the entire city. The golden cloud was very thick and it was rolling, emitting a dazzling golden light. On top of the golden cloud, there were 5 cloud-shaped golden dragons. It was a magnificent sight. This is Jilu City, Qinglong said. It's magnificent, isn't it? The golden cloud is the sea of fortune clouds. There are 5 golden dragons on it. Jilu City is one of the biggest cities in the world. After 50,000 years, it has a strong foundation. Dongfang Zhengpai said proudly. Sea of fortune clouds. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with affection. All right, where were we just now? You said you want to participate in the Heaven's Gift Conference? Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yin Chuan. That's right. Yin Chuan nodded. Ha! Your father was the best in the last conference. When the blood demon appeared, no one could compete with him. This time, you want to participate and compete for the Tianso? Dongfang Zhongpai's eyes lit up. No, Yin Chuan shook his head. Oh, this time, I want to compete for the God's bestowment strategy. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with determination. What? The God's bestowment strategy? Dongfang Zhongpai was shocked. Meow, it's just the God's bestowment strategy. Why are you so nervous? Meow rolled its eyes. Dongfang Zhongpai had a strange look on his face. The Yin family is really talented. Your father was already awesome. He competed for the Tian Su with a group of Emptiness Realm experts as an immortal state expert, and won in the end. You're even better. You want to compete for the God's bestowment strategy? What? Could it be that the rules have changed? Yin Chuan said with a smile. It's true that it hasn't changed. It's just that when the time comes, you'll be fighting a group of Confucians by yourself. You'll only be 20 years old, right? Dongfang Zhongpai looked at Yin Chuan as if he was looking at a monster. Yin Chuan smiled. But that's good too. Those Confucian scholars in the college are all jealous. I've been annoyed with them for a long time. I'll support you. I'll help you cheat. Dongfang Zhongpai said with a smile. You can even cheat? Qing Long was surprised. I'll do my best. For example, if you need any books, I'll pass them to you. Dongfang Zhongpai smiled. Thank you very much. Yin Chuan nodded. No, I remember now. You have another opponent this time. Dongfang Zhongpai's expression suddenly changed. Opponent? He's also fighting for the God investiture strategy. That person is back. I remember now. He's back. Dongfang Zhongpai said worriedly. Who? The Confucian sage, Sima Yintian. He used to be the principal of the right house of the Julu Academy. His position was second only to the principal. He led the 72 disciples of the Confucian scholars and traveled the world. He cultivated righteousness and enlightened the world. He recently returned. I heard that he's going to fight for the God investiture strategy. The return of the Confucian sage is expected by everyone. No one in Julu City doubts that he will fail. Dongfang Zhongpai frowned. Confucian sage? Sima Yintian? Everyone support? Yin Chuan's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. In a large hall, Bai Ditian was drinking wine alone. Zhuo Wuzhou and Zhuo Qinxiu were standing respectfully in front of him. King, what do we do now? How do we explain this to the Julu Academy? Zhuo Wuzhou asked worriedly. Chapter 459. After taking a sip of wine, Bai Diqian shook his head and said, Don't worry. As long as the dean of the Julu Academy hears my name, he will not do anything out of line. Yes. The two of them replied respectfully. Zhuo Wuzhou, Bai Diqian said lightly. Yes. I don't care what method you use. Keep me updated on Yin Chuan's group, especially the white tiger on his shoulder. Bai Diqian said in a low voice. White tiger? Isn't that a cat? Zhuo Qinxiu asked in shock. Bai Diqian's eyes turned cold. He released a vicious aura. Plop. Zhuo Qinxiu immediately knelt down. Remember, you have no right to be disrespectful to it. Bai Diqian said coldly. Yes, Zhuo Qinxiu said as he trembled. Julu City. Inside a large hall, Meng Rongrong had changed into a white dress. Bastard, Yin Chuan. Meng Rongrong gritted her teeth. Young mistress. A voice came from outside the hall. Come in. Meng Rongrong shouted. Soon, a few Confucian scholars walked in. The one leading them was Chan Qing, who had been sent to Yanjin. Have you found out? Meng Rongrong asked. Young mistress, which one do you want to hear? Chan Qing asked. Let's talk about Bai Ditian first. Meng Rongrong said with a frown. Yes, Bai Ditian. According to our records, he should be the tiger king of the tiger species recently. He's a white tiger. After he was born, he kept a low profile and did not get along with others. However, a month ago, he kept breaking through. Chan Qing explained. Broke through? What do you mean? A month ago, he was still in the essence state. Chan Qing said in disbelief. What? Essence state? Are you sure? Meng Rongrong asked in shock. No, I also hope that it's a mistake. But my Julu Academy has records of the few demonic beast races that are vassal to us. This by Detian is just that strange. Essence state, cheese state, immortal state, virtual state, 1 month? Meng Rongrong was surprised. All right, I've also found out about Yin Chuan. The Eastern Orthodox faction has invited him to the Eastern Palace Hall as an honored guest. Chan Qing immediately said, Eastern Palace Hall? Sure enough, like people meet like people. Meng Rongrong's eyes revealed a trace of lovable hatred. Ha ha, who made my daughter angry? A hearty laugh came from outside the hall. An old man in a white robe stepped in. The old man had white hair and a white beard, and he looked very amiable. Greetings, Hall Master. The group of Confucian scholars respectfully said. Not bad. You guys can leave first. The old man chuckled. Yes. The Confucian scholars respectfully left. Father, Meng Rongrong shouted. What? I just heard someone say that you were bullied. Who is so bold? The old man asked. Father, listen to their nonsense. How could it be? Meng Rongrong immediately shook her head. That Yin Chuan? The old man still did not give up. Father, don't worry about my matters. It's really nothing. Don't listen to others' nonsense. Meng Rongrong immediately pulled the old man's arm and said, Okay, I don't care. The old man chuckled. All right, Father, the new king of the Tiger Clan is very strange. In 1 month, he stepped into the virtual realm from the Essence State. How'd he do it? Meng Rongrong frowned. Zhuo Wuzhou stepped down. Who is the new king? The old man was puzzled. His name is by Detian. Zhuo Qinxiu and Zhuo Wuzhou are extremely respectful to him. Meng Rongrong thought and said, By Detian? By Detian? This name sounds a little familiar. Where have I seen it before? The old man was puzzled. Father, you've heard of it? Didn't they say that you were in seclusion? Meng Rongrong asked curiously. Wait. The old man suddenly became serious. With a flip of his hand, the old man took out a book. History of the Tiger Clan? Meng Rongrong looked at the title of the book curiously. This is a record of the Tiger Clan's glorious history, the old man said solemnly. Then, he quickly flipped through the book. As he flipped through the book, the old man's hand suddenly stopped. By Detian, Meng Rongrong looked at a page of the book in shock. The entire page recorded a Tiger Clan expert by Detian. It's him? He didn't ascend? Did he reincarnate and cultivate again? The old man looked at the name in shock. Is this the same person? Meng Rongrong said in shock. It must be him. In 1 month, he reached the virtual realm from the Essence State. That is the power left behind in his previous life. He inherited it. By Detian, he's back? The old man frowned. Is it really that fierce person? Meng Rongrong said in disbelief. Don't investigate him in the future. The feud between the Tiger Clan and the Julu Academy ends here. The old man said in a low voice. Okay. Meng Rongrong nodded. Julu City. On a huge floating island, there was a large palace called the Eastern Palace. Yin Chuan stood at the edge of the floating island and looked at the sea of providence in the sky. He looked at the countless cultivators below and felt a sense of familiarity. Young master, this Eastern Palace is one of the top 10 floating islands in Julu City. I didn't expect it to be the private property of the Eastern Orthodox faction. Qing Long sighed. Is that so? Is there anyone else in the Julu Academy with the surname Eastern? Yin Chuan asked. I'm not sure. This surname is very rare. I only know that he is from the Eastern Orthodox faction. Qing Long shook his head. Just as Yin Chuan and Qing Long were talking, a white figure flew over from afar. Brother Yin, this is bad. This is bad. Your name has spread throughout the city. Eastern Orthodox faction said anxiously. Oh, isn't it because you molested little Miss Meng? That's the daughter of the dean, a goddess in the hearts of countless cultivators. You actually molested her in front of nearly 10,000 cultivators. TSK. With such boldness, it's hard for you not to become famous. Dongfang Zhengpai scolded. Yin Chuan. Those busybodies came back and spread the news. Now all of Great Deer City is talking about you. Some storytellers even split your story into 8 parts and take turns telling it every morning, noon, and night at the tea house. There are even people who have formed a rape alliance, saying that they will rape you for Little Meng. Dongfang Zhengpai gloated. Is that so? Yin Chuan asked curiously. That's right. I was thinking that if you wanted to compete with Sima Yuntian for the God investiture strategy, you would have to catch up to him in terms of influence. But now, your reputation has already surpassed his. Dongfang Zhengpai laughed. Yin Chuan, meow. What happened that day was split into 8 parts. Meow exclaimed. Of course, it's not just 8 parts. There are many versions. Anyway, Brother Yin, you're famous. In Jilu City, you're completely famous. Dongfang Zhengpai said enviously. Chapter 460. Jilu City. In a courtyard, 7 to 8 green-robed Confucian scholars surrounded a white-robed man. The man held a fan in his hand, his eyes filled with arrogance. Brother Qinping, to be so angry for beauty, I admire you. A green-robed Confucian scholar praised. Brother Qinping is the last disciple of the virtuous sage Sima Yuntian. His name shakes the world. With a command, hundreds of Confucian cultivators will respond. Everyone praised the white-robed man. The white-robed man, Qinping, smiled with satisfaction. Then, he said solemnly, Meng Rongrong is a goddess. She is sacred and inviolable. Who would have thought that a mediocre outsider would dare to molest her in front of nearly 10,000 practitioners? This is intolerable. Everyone, for this alliance, we must make that shameless person pay the price. Good. We will listen to Brother Qinping. The Confucian scholars in the courtyard nodded. Some were filled with righteous indignation. Some were trying to curry favor with Qinping. Sir, a servant ran into the courtyard in a panic. What's wrong? Qinping asked curiously. That Yin Chuan is out. The servant said immediately. Is that so? Finally, he's not a coward anymore. Let's go. Everyone follow me. Let's teach this shameless person a lesson. Qinping shouted. Okay, let's teach him a lesson. Under Qinping's lead, a group of people stepped out of the courtyard. With the servant leading the way, more and more Confucian scholars gathered, majestically heading towards Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan, Qing Long, Miao, and Dongfang Zhengpai flew quickly in the city. Young master, someone is following us. And it's not just one group. Qing Long frowned. This is normal. Yin Chuan is now a famous person in Jilu City. Who would dare to molest the young miss of Jilu Academy? Who would dare to molest the young miss in front of 10,000 cultivators? Dongfang Zhengpai laughed. I said, I didn't molest you. Yin Chuan was somewhat speechless. Understood. Dongfang Zhengpai revealed a wretched smile. Meow. Surname Dong. Didn't you say that you would bring us to sign up? Why did you come to the back? Meow shouted. My surname is not Dong. Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. The registration point is behind. Dongfang Zhengpai said. Oh, who is in charge of this year's strategy of God's investiture? Yin Chuan asked. Dean of the left courtyard, Yu-E. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. Left courtyard? Yu-E. Jilu Academy is split into the left and left courtyards. Other than the virtuous paragons who are unwilling to be disturbed by worldly affairs, the person with the highest position in the Jilu Academy is the courtyard Dean Meng Ziqiu, followed by the dean of the left courtyard Yu-E and the right courtyard Sima Yuntian. It's a pity that Sima Yuntian suddenly gave up his position as the dean of the right courtyard and roamed the world to educate people. It's said that he even went to the other 3 academies to participate in the literary battles. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. Literary battles? Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a trace of seriousness. All right, we're here. Flying is not allowed here. Even the courtyard dean has to walk on the ground. Dongfang Zhengpai said. Everyone landed on the clouds. After circling around Jilu mountain range, the group arrived at a huge depression. It was a huge plaza with many palaces surrounding it. However, within the depression, There were close to 100 rays of white light shooting into the sky. Chapter 461. Before we register, we have to enter and pay our respects. Dongfang Zhengpai said solemnly. Yin Chuan nodded. The group walked towards a cave. There were also many Confucian cultivators entering and exiting. All of them had solemn expressions. As soon as they entered, they saw the source of the white light. There were a total of 100 white jade statues, emitting boundless righteous energy. The 100 white jade statues were all over 100 feet tall. It was a majestic sight. These 100 statues are all of the sages of the Jiulu Academy. They all ascended to the immortal realm and left behind a strand of their primordial spirits to be nurtured in these statues. They will guide future generations of Confucian cultivators and enlighten the world. They will nurture their righteous energy. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. This is the Jiulu Academy, the 100 sages' righteous altar. Qinglong's expression changed. That's right. This is the place where the righteous energy of the Jiulu Academy is the strongest. Dongfang Zhengpai said proudly. However, Yin Chuan wasn't paying attention to these 100 statues. Instead, he was looking at a huge green jade statue surrounded by the 100 sages. Although the green jade statue didn't emit any righteous energy, it was twice as tall as the 100 sages. The lower half of the green jade statue was the tail of a snake, while the upper half was that of a woman. The woman's hands were clasped together, and her eyes were filled with compassion. Goddess Ji Chun. Yin Chuan looked at the green jade statue in surprise. Yin Chuan clasped his hands together and bowed respectfully. Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yin Chuan in surprise, but he also bowed respectfully to the woman with the snake's body. Meow. Why do I feel like crying when I see this statue? Meow. Meow's expression suddenly became strange. Meow, are you all right? Yin Chuan looked at Meow curiously. Meow, I don't know why either. When I see her, I feel like crying. I don't know why either. Meow shook her head, revealing a confused expression. Crying? Dongfang Zhengpai asked curiously. Is this goddess Xichen? Yin Chuan asked Dongfang Zhengpai. Finally, Yin Chuan saw a figure that was similar to his previous life. Although they were all statues, this already showed the connection between this world and his previous life. Goddess Ji Chun? What's Goddess Ji Chun? Qinglong was puzzled. Dongfang Zhengpai looked at the statue and shook his head. I'm not sure either. But Goddess Ji Chun has statues in the 4 great academies and the archaic Arcanum sect for future generations to worship. Legend has it that Goddess Ji Chun is the ancestor of all living things. She is the one who created all living things. Goddess Ji Chun created all living beings in the world? Qinglong said in astonishment. All right, don't be rude to Goddess Ji Chun. Let's go out. Yin Chuan shook his head. Even in his previous life, when Yin Chuan grew up, Goddess Ji Chun was the ancestor of everyone. No one dared to blaspheme it. After worshipping the goddess, we can leave now. Dongfang Zhengpai nodded. Qinglong was still a loss. Goddess Ji Chun? Never heard of her before. The group walked out of the 100 Saints' righteousness altar and walked towards the plaza, heading straight for one of the palaces. God's Ceiling Palace. Opposite the God's Ceiling Palace was a place called the Heavenly Palace. That place was filled with people entering and exiting. However, the God's Ceiling Palace was extremely cold and cheerless. When the 3 of them walked into the God's Ceiling Palace, they saw a huge signboard with the words Sima Yintian written on it. Below the signboard sat 8 bored Confucian scholars. They were clutching their books and lying on the table, asleep. How dare you slack off in the God's Ceiling Palace? Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. Yes, the 8 Confucian scholars suddenly quivered. Dongfang, scoundrel, it's you. One of the Confucian scholars shouted. Chapter 462. Dongfang bitch, you dare to scare me? Dongfang bitch, you still dare to come? The 8 scholars called out 8 different names, but none of them called out Dong Fong Zhengpai's original name. Dong Fong Zhengpai didn't feel ashamed and instead laughed. Senior brothers, you've been busy recently. Busy my ass. We're not allowed to cultivate. We're like idiots every day. A scholar said helplessly. Oh, I'm here to find some fun for you. Look, someone signed up for the God bestowment strategy. Dong Fong Zhengpai laughed. What? Sign up? Didn't Sima Yuntian sign up? The scholar frowned. It's not Sima Yuntian, it's my friend, Yin Chuan. Dong Fong Zhengpai pointed at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan. The second time he called out Yin Chuan, his voice was 8 pitches higher. What? You're Yin Chuan? Yin Tao's son, the Yin Chuan who molested little Meng? The group of Confucian scholars immediately became interested. They stroked their beards, their eyes shining as they sized up Yin Chuan. Meow, why is he the same as that wretched fatty? Meow didn't understand. Wretched fatty? Dong Fong Zhengpai's face froze. The 8 scholars' faces also froze. They looked at Dong Fong Zhengpai with disgust. They coughed and adjusted their attitudes. You're Yin Chuan? You want to sign up for the God bestowment strategy? A scholar asked. Yes. Yin Chuan nodded. You should know that there are conditions to compete for the God bestowment strategy. The scholar said calmly. Conditions? Yin Chuan looked at the scholar and then at Dong Fong Zhengpai. Dong Fong Zhengpai didn't say anything. That's right. First, you have to make a name for yourself in Jiulu City. That's the most basic requirement. A person without influence doesn't have the qualifications to establish an academy or educate all living beings. The Confucian scholar said indifferently. I say, old Yin, isn't Yin Chuan famous in Jiulu City? Go out and ask around. From a 1,000-year-old woman to an 8-year-old girl, who doesn't know Yin Chuan? Dong Fong Zheng immediately defended Yin Chuan. But why did it sound so awkward when she heard his explanation? Huh? Old Yin was slightly stunned. Besides, if people like you, who live in a lifeless zombie palace, have heard of Yin Chuan, how could the outsiders not have heard of him? How many people in Jiulu City don't know Yin Chuan? Isn't he famous enough to shake the entire city? Dong Fong Zhengpai scolded. All right, for the sake of you, Dong Fong scoundrel, I'll do it for him. Old Yin nodded. Hang it up. Old Yin said to the Confucian cultivators behind him. Everyone nodded. Quickly, they took out a huge sign. 2 Confucian cultivators quickly picked up the brushes on the table. With a stroke, the 2 words Yin Chuan appeared on the sign. Hang it up, Old Yin shouted. The Confucian cultivators nodded and quickly hung the sign on the other side of the hall, beside Sima Yuntian. Just as Yin Chuan was feeling satisfied, a commotion came from outside the hall. Mr. Yin Chuan has entered the God Sealing Hall. A voice shouted. What? He went in? That's good. Follow me in. An arrogant voice came from outside the hall. Everyone turned their heads. Chen Ping? Dong Fong Zhengpai raised his eyebrows. The leader was a white-clothed man. He held a folding fan and walked into the hall with an arrogant face. Chen Ping, Sima Yuntian's last disciple, the last of the 72 Confucian scholars. Dong Fong Zhengpai explained to Yin Chuan softly. Chapter 463. Jiulu City, God Sealing Temple Square. There were many palaces in the square, and the one with the most people was the Sky Hall. The Sky Hall was the place to sign up for the Tian Su competition. Many sects signed up. The God Sealing Temple opposite was usually very quiet. But today, there were hundreds of Confucian scholars outside the God Sealing Temple. They all looked righteous, as if they were here to kill someone. Look, what's going on at the God Sealing Temple? There are still people in the zombie temple? It's usually deserted. Why are there so many people today? I saw that the leader is Chen Ping, Sima Yuntian's disciple. What are they doing? Causing trouble? Let's go and see. Wherever there are many people, there would be no lack of people gossiping. In the blink of an eye, the God Sealing Temple was surrounded by 3 layers of people. And as the number of people increased, the influence was also increasing. More and more people gathered, making the surrounding cultivators more and more curious. Inside the God Sealing Temple, Chun Ping led the group of Confucians into the main hall. Chun Ping, Sima Yuntian's last disciple, the last of the 72 Confucian scholars. Dongfang Zhengpai whispered to Yin Chuan. Dongfang Zhengpai explained in a low voice. Chun Ping, who had a look of arrogance on his face, suddenly saw a huge signboard. Next to Sima Yuntian, there was a similar sign. Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan? Sign up? Chun Ping squinted his eyes. Sign up? Yin Chuan signed up? Yin Chuan wants to compete for the God-sealing strategy. Yin Chuan wants to compete with Sima Yuntian for the God-sealing strategy? The Confucian cultivators were all shocked. They were all shocked by the scene in front of them. Old Yin, what's going on? How can this kind of person sign up? Chun Ping immediately shouted at the Confucian cultivator who was in charge of the registration. Yeah, this kind of person is immoral. Great Confucian Yin. How can you sign him up? How did you check? The Confucian cultivators in Yin Chuan's alliance all looked at Old Yin. Old Yin asked indifferently, "What's wrong? Do we have to report to you when we check?" Chun Ping raised an eyebrow at Old Yin's words. Old Yin, I don't understand. That's why I'm asking you for guidance. Chun Ping said in a deep voice. Because of your promotion, Yin Chuan's name has already spread throughout Jilu City. If he meets the rules, he can sign up anytime. Old Yin said calmly. The scholarly cultivators were all a loss. Chun Ping was also depressed. He stopped pestering Old Yin and looked at Yin Chuan instead. Humph. A country bumpkin wants to compete with my teacher for the God investiture strategy? Keep dreaming. Chun Ping looked coldly at Yin Chuan. You are Sima Yuntian's disciple? Could it be that Sima Yuntian knows that he will lose, so he sent his disciple here to cause trouble? Yin Chuan smiled. Bah, do you really think you're some big shot? You're not even fit to carry my teacher's shoes. I'm here on behalf of the thousands of Confucian cultivators in Jilu City to teach you a lesson. Chun Ping shouted. That's right, a despicable person. The scholarly cultivators all shouted. Old Yin and the other Confucian cultivators who had signed up immediately became interested. The God Investiture Hall was nicknamed the Zombie Hall because it was too quiet. It was so quiet that the Confucian cultivators were bored to the point of sleeping. Now, something had finally happened. The 8 Confucian cultivators smiled and sat down. No one stopped them and allowed the two sides to curse each other. This kind of situation was rare. Xing. Yin Chuan pulled out the Jade Emperor's sword. Chapter 464. The Confucian cultivators were shocked and stopped talking. The name of the sword is Jade Emperor. It has killed 7,132 people and has never been defeated. Since you are interested, let's start. Who shall we start? Yin Chuan asked. The hall was dead silent. Everyone was shouting, but only a few of them were willing to fight to the death. Even Chun Ping's eyelids were twitching. Although Chun Ping was an immortal state warrior, he could not see through Yin Chuan's cultivation level. Moreover, Yin Chuan was Yin Tao's son. Would he turn into a blood demon? Humph! Gentlemen use their words, not their fists. We are here to reason. Chun Ping shouted. Meow. So you are not here to fight, but to spit. Meow said with disdain. Ha ha ha. Old Yin laughed. Screech. Yin Chuan pulled out the Jade Emperor sword and put it into the sheath on his back. He looked at Chun Ping with disdain. Seeing Yin Chuan put away the Jade Emperor sword, the Confucian cultivators were excited again. Yin Chuan, you insulted Meng Rongrong. You are despicable. Yin Chuan, you have to apologize to Meng Rongrong. We can't let this despicable man go. He has to kneel down and repent. Yes, kneel down and repent. Kneel down and repent. The Confucian cultivators were agitated. Chun Ping took advantage of the situation and shouted, Yin Chuan, you have committed a heinous crime by insulting Meng Rongrong. Now the whole city knows about it. How dare you show your face? Come with me to Meng Rongrong's residence and kneel down and repent. Then get out of Jilu City. Everyone followed Chun Ping's words. Meow, what a bunch of lunatics. Meow Meow whispered. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Insulting Meng Rongrong? Who said that? The Confucian cultivators were slightly taken aback. Then, they stared at Yin Chuan with disdain. You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it. Right now, the entire city is saying that you insulted Meng Rongrong. Last time at the Tiger Tribe's encampment, did you tear Meng Rongrong's clothes and do something improper? Chen Ping shouted. Ha ha ha, what a joke. You saw it? Yin Chuan said disdainfully. At that time, nearly 10,000 pairs of eyes were watching, and you still wanted to act shamelessly? What right does an immoral person have to establish an academy and educate all living beings? What qualifications do you have to compete for the God investiture strategy? Chen Ping shouted. Immoral? Ha ha, a pack of dogs barking wildly. Is that considered immoral? Yin Chuan said indifferently. A pack of dogs barking? Puffed. Old Yin and Dongfang Zhengpai laughed out loud. The group of Confucian cultivators were arguing until their faces were red with anger. It was just like what Yin Chuan said, a pack of barking dogs. What did you say? The group of Confucian cultivators roared. I want to duel with you. Another Confucian cultivator said angrily. Yin Chuan's words scolded the hundreds of Confucian cultivators in the alliance. Immediately, the group of Confucian cultivators roared in anger. Immoral villains are not things that you say based on your subjective opinions. They have to be based on facts. Instead, it is the mad dogs that twist the facts and bark at people that are the real immoral villains. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Bastard, I am the disciple of the great sage Sima Yuntian. My body is filled with righteousness. How dare you slander me? Chen Ping shouted. What you mean is like teacher, like disciple? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. Of course, Chen Ping said arrogantly. Ha! How did Sima Yuntian accept a disciple like you? It's fine if you are filthy, but you want to drag Sima Yuntian down with you? Yin Chuan said indifferently. Chapter 465. What? Are you qualified to say that a person is filthy? I think you are the one who is filthy. Chen Ping shouted. The two's cursing immediately attracted the curious gazes of countless cultivators in the surroundings. Yin Chuan versus Chen Ping was a rare sight. Old Yin and the others ate some of their treasured snacks as they watched with schadenfreude. Heaven is watching what a person does. Although reputation can cover people's eyes, it cannot cover heaven's heart. Yin Chuan said indifferently. What a person does. Heaven is watching. I, Chen Ping, have lived an upright life, worthy of heaven and earth. I have a righteous aura. How can a lowly person like you slander me? Chen Ping scolded. In that case, let heaven decide. I, Yin Chuan, am virtuous. I can testify to the sun and moon. Heaven and earth can testify. Until today, I have never had any thoughts of blasphemy toward Meng Rongrong. If I have any thoughts of blasphemy, may heaven strike me with lightning. Yin Chuan shouted. Swear? Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in disdain. What was the point of swearing? Would heaven care about an insignificant person like you? Humph! Hypocrite! Chen Ping scolded. I've already testified to heaven and earth. Now it is your turn. Do you dare to say that you have no filthy thoughts about Meng Rongrong? Do you dare to swear to heaven? Yin Chuan said coldly. You want me to swear? Chen Ping showed a strange expression. However, many cultivators and Confucian cultivators stared at him from behind. Chen Ping immediately showed a serious expression. I, Chen Ping, swear to heaven that I have never had any thoughts of blasphemy toward Meng Rongrong. If I have any thoughts of blasphemy, may heaven strike me with lightning. Chen Ping shouted. Swear? Won't that be easy? It's not like I will lose anything. Just as Chen Ping was feeling pleased with himself, boom, the sky exploded. A bolt of heavenly lightning fell from the sky and blasted the roof of Sealing Divine Hall. The tiles shattered as the heavenly lightning struck Chen Ping's feet. Heaven struck me with lightning? Countless cultivators looked at the large hole in the roof in confusion. Old Yin shook out a small bean that he was about to put into his mouth. How can this be? It's heavenly lightning. Immediately, a commotion broke out in the main hall. The cries of cultivators could be heard everywhere. God is watching what you do. You have to remember that God is watching you. You can't just randomly make an oath. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Meow. Meow nodded, looking at him as if he was shameless. Everyone looked at Chun Ping in bewilderment. Could it be that Chin Ping had really made a vow? Chin Ping was so embarrassed that his face turned red. Struck by lightning? If the oath was confirmed, wouldn't that mean that he was a vile, despicable person? Bastard, you were blocked by the tiles just now. The heavenly lightning must have struck you. I'll hack you. Chin Ping shouted at Yin Chuan, just as everyone was about to nod their heads. Boom! Another bolt of lightning fell from the sky. It passed through the hole in the roof and struck Chin Ping. Impossible! Chun Ping shouted. Boom! Chun Ping's face was instantly char-black, and his hair was disheveled. Impossible! Impossible! Chun Ping could not accept the heavenly lightning's attack. How could this be? The surrounding cultivators were also at a loss. However, the voices opposing Yin Chuan were much softer now. They no longer looked at Chun Ping with reverence like before. Instead, they looked at him with disgust. Heavenly lightning struck him. He admitted that he was despicable. I said before, God is watching what you do. If you are despicable, don't drag your teacher down with you. Yin Chuan said indifferently. Chin Ping wanted to say that it was Yin Chuan's doing. However, there were so many cultivators here watching. How could Yin Chuan do anything? Furthermore, this was true heavenly lightning. One could imagine that after today, Chun Ping's reputation would be ruined. Don't randomly make oaths in the future. I'll give you a few more words. Yin Chuan said indifferently. At this moment, no one made any noise in the main hall. Great scholar Yin, lend me your brush. Yin Chuan said. All right. Old Yin happily handed over his brush as well. Old Yin and the two Confucian cultivators even took out a huge signboard. It was for Yin Chuan to inscribe. Yin Chuan did not stand on ceremony, writing on the signboard. When the brush landed, white light shone everywhere. Overwhelming righteousness. What a dense, overwhelming righteousness. With righteousness in your heart, you are definitely righteous. Dongfang Zhengji cheered at the side. When Dongfang Zhengji said that, many cultivators who did not know their stance nodded. Yin Chuan did not put too much effort into writing. Hence, he only revealed a strong, overwhelming righteousness. After he finished writing, he tossed the brush aside. He tossed it back on the table. I'll give you these 4 words. I hope you can work hard. Let's go. Yin Chuan said in a carefree manner. At this moment, no one stopped Yin Chuan. The group of Confucian cultivators opened up a path for Yin Chuan to walk out. Then, they looked at the 4 words that Yin Chuan wrote for Chin Ping. Overwhelming righteousness filled the main hall. On the signboard, the 4 words were incomparably shocking. Fishing for fame. Someone read it out. Fishing for fame? The meaning of these 4 words was even more dazzling than the overwhelming righteousness. How many pairs of eyes were blinded? Chapter 466. Vast righteous energy filled the main hall. On the signboard, there were 4 shocking words. Fishing for fame. Someone read out. Fishing for fame? The meaning of these 4 words was even more dazzling than the vast righteous energy. How many pairs of eyes were blinded? The alliance of snipers immediately fell silent. Chin Ping's face was red. Looking at these 4 words, he was about to faint from anger. Old Yin and the others who were in charge of the registration had a strange glow in their eyes. Great scholar Chin Ping, this is a gift for you. Here. Old Yin handed the huge signboard to Chin Ping. Chin Ping was ashamed and indignant as he took the signboard. Holding the signboard, he hated that he could not immediately smash it. Yin Chuan. Chin Ping's eyes were slightly bloodshot. Fishing for fame. Is this Yin Chuan declaring war on Simi and Tian? The surrounding cultivators were in an uproar. Today's event was a great humiliation. Chin Ping was filled with shame and indignation as he squeezed out of the crowd and quickly flew away from this sad place. TSK, who would have thought? You can know a person for a long time without understanding his heart. I heard that the virtuous Sima Yuntian's 72 disciples all had vast righteous energy in their hearts and were extremely intelligent. Now, it seems that this is not the case. Did Yinchuan really not do anything to Meng Rongrong? Lightning? Could it be that this place is close to the 100 Saints' righteousness altar, sensing the heaven and earth? That must be it. In the future, I can't just randomly swear here. The two sides of the battle left, leaving behind a group of cultivators who were all talking at once. Today's event would definitely spread to the entire city at the fastest speed. Watching the large group of cultivators leave, Old Yin in the conferred god palace let out a strange laugh. Now it won't be boring, haha. Yin Chuan, Dongfang Zhengpai, Qing Long, and Miao left the square and flew into the sky. Yin Chuan, what happened with the lightning? Don't tell me that it was the wrath of the heavens. I don't believe it. Dongfang Zhengpai said anxiously. Qing Long also looked at Yin Chuan curiously. It's the wrath of heaven. Yin Chuan laughed. Miao? Miao was also curious. That's impossible. That guy doesn't have the qualifications to be condemned by the heavens. Dongfang Zhengpai shook his head. With a faint smile, Yin Chuan admitted, just a little trick. This little trick was naturally the first level of the heaven-devouring Tao scripture, the azure thundercloud in the heavens court aperture. He could control 2 heavenly tribulations. Little tricks? This was a godly skill for acting. How did you do it? Dongfang Zhengpai asked excitedly. Yin Chuan shook his head and refused to say anything. Along the way, Dongfang Zheng asked several times, but Yin Chuan refused to say anything. Dongfang Zheng could only give up. He no longer entangled himself in this matter. Qing Long, help me collect all kinds of ancient records in the city, especially those related to history. The more, the better. For the next period of time, I will be reading in the Eastern Palace Hall. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Reading? What kind of books do you want to read? My Eastern Palace Hall has all kinds of books. Dongfang Zhengpai said. Oh, my Eastern Palace Hall has all the books in the past 50,000 years. There are 8 million books. Other than the dean, I have the most books here. Dongfang Zhengpai said immediately. Oh, that's great. Yin Chuan nodded satisfactorily. But you just defeated Qinping. Don't you want to pursue the victory and increase the impact? What books are you reading? Dongfang Zhengpai asked. I want to find some information. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Chapter 467. The news of Yin Chuan signing up to fight against Qinping in the Temple of the Gods swept through the entire Jilu city. Some people said that Yin Chuan was overestimating himself, while others said that Qinping deserved it. However, the most interesting thing was the fishing for fame sign. Countless cultivators discussed it enthusiastically. In a large hall on Jilu Mountain, Meng Rongrong listened to the report of Chongqing and the other Confucian cultivators. Really? Meng Rongrong said in a low voice. Every word is true. The group of Confucian cultivators nodded. All of you are dismissed. Meng Rongrong took a deep breath and said, Yes. Everyone retreated. Only Meng Rongrong was left in the hall. After everyone left, Meng Rongrong slammed her hand on the table. Her eyes were filled with anger. Bastard Yin Chuan, do I, Meng Rongrong, have no charm at all? How dare he say that he doesn't have any feelings for me? How dare he say such things after seeing me naked? Bastard, bastard, bastard. Meng Rongrong was furious. Jilu Academy's main hall, Hall of Jilu. Meng Rongrong's father, Meng Ziqiu, was stroking his white beard as he listened to the report of Elder Yin from the Temple of the Gods. Beside him stood a clean-shaven man. Headmaster, teacher, it's like this. Elder Yin said respectfully. What do you think? Meng Ziqiu asked with a smile. The headmaster of the left wing of the Jilu Academy. The timing of the lightning is very strange. He frowned. It's just the right time. Meng Ziqiu said with a smile. Yes, I think Yin Chuan did on purpose. Yui nodded. Yin Chuan? Yin Tao. This father and son reminded me of someone, Meng Ziqiu said after some thought. Oh, he asked curiously. Our Julu Academy has been established for 50,000 years. Every year, we record the major events of the world. There are very few people with the surname Yan. I flipped through the ancient records and found another expert with the surname Yan. Meng Ziqiu said with a serious expression. Oh, Meng Ziqiu handed over a small booklet. Old Yan wanted to watch, but Meng Ziqiu waved his hand and said, "You may leave." Yes. Old Yan sighed and left. He looked at the booklet. Undying Holy Land, Blade Demon's best friend, Yin Zizai. He frowned. Back then, Yin Zizai didn't transform into a blood demon. However, I remember that when the Julu Academy investigated the place where Yin Zizai disappeared, they found a 10,000 li sea of blood. This was recorded in the records. A 10,000 li sea of blood. A blood demon? We have no choice but to link them together. Meng Ziqiu said solemnly. Then let them mess around. Louis laughed. Yes, let them mess around. Meng Ziqiu nodded. Dean, Sima Yintian wants to fight for the God investiture strategy and open a new academy. Isn't that too much? He frowned. Meng Ziqiu smiled bitterly and said, How can I not see it? Let's not talk about it. Let's go and drink. He nodded. Tiger Race's encampment. Bai Detian swirled the crystal wine cup in his hand and tasted the wine as he listened to Zhuo Wuzhou's report. King, I saw it with my own eyes. I was among that group of cultivators. Zhuo Wuzhou said solemnly. Heavenly lightning accompanied them? Bai Detian narrowed his eyes. King, could it be because of the 100 Saints' righteousness altar? The 100 Saints sensed the heavenly lightning? Zhuo Wuzhou asked curiously. No, it should be the Yin Chuan. Bai Detian narrowed his eyes. Yin Chuan? Zhuo Wuzhou said in surprise. Continue to investigate. Bai Detian said solemnly. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.